My beloved child, I need you to stop for a moment and listen carefully. Do not rush past these words. Do not tell yourself that you will come back later. There is a reason you are here right now, at this very moment. Out of all the voices competing for your attention, out of all the distractions surrounding your day, something led you here. That was not an accident. I have been watching over you. I have seen every burden you carry, every question you hide, every silent tear that no one else knows about. I have heard the prayers you spoke aloud, and I have also heard the prayers that never left your lips. The cries of your heart have never escaped my notice. My child, there are moments in life that seem ordinary while they are happening, yet later they become the turning points that changed everything. A traveler walking through a desert may think he is simply taking another step, unaware that the next hill will reveal the oasis he has been searching for. In the same way, you may believe today is just another day. But what if it is not? What if this moment carries more significance than you realize? That is why I am asking you to listen carefully. For too long, you have been looking at certain situations through the lens of fear, disappointment, and uncertainty. You have wondered whether things will ever change. You have questioned whether the answers you seek are still coming. At times, you have felt stuck between what was and what could be. Yet even in those moments, I was working in ways you could not see. The seed bearing beneath the soil often appears forgotten. To those looking from the outside, nothing seems to be happening. Days pass. Weeks pass. The ground remains unchanged. Yet deep beneath the surface, life is forming. Roots are growing. Preparation is taking place. The harvest is quietly moving closer. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean I am absent. Just because you cannot see the answer does not mean I have stopped working. There are pieces being arranged, doors being prepared, and paths being cleared that you know nothing about. This is why I have drawn your attention here today. Not to frighten you, not to overwhelm you, but to awaken your heart. I do not want you to miss what I am doing in this season. I do not want you to allow discouragement to blind you to the possibilities standing right in front of you. Listen closely. The story is not over. The chapter you are living in right now is not the final chapter. What feels delayed is not denied. What feels broken is not beyond restoration. What feels impossible is not beyond my power. So stay with me, my child. Quiet the noise around you. Open your heart. What I am about to reveal in the days ahead will help you understand why this message reached you at exactly the right time. There is a reason for this urgency. There is a purpose behind this moment. And before this message is finished, you will begin to see that I have been guiding you all along. My beloved child, before you go any further, I want you to understand something that may change the way you see your entire life. You have not been walking through these days alone. Even when you felt abandoned, even when you believed heaven was silent, I was speaking to you. I have been calling you far more often than you realize. Many times, you expected my voice to arrive like thunder. You expected dramatic signs, unmistakable wonders, and sudden answers. Yet often, I chose to speak through whispers. I spoke through moments that seemed ordinary. I spoke through unexpected conversations. I spoke through closed doors that protected you from paths that would have wounded you. I spoke through delays that frustrated you. I even spoke through the stillness that made you wonder where I was. There were mornings when you felt a gentle urging in your heart to keep going even though you wanted to quit. That was me. There were days when a certain thought kept returning to your mind, encouraging you not to give up. That was me. There were moments when help arrived at exactly the right time, moments that seemed like coincidence to everyone else. But my child, I do not deal in coincidences. That was me. Think back for a moment. Remember situations where you narrowly avoided trouble. Remember opportunities that appeared unexpectedly. Remember times when you found strength you did not know you possessed. You may have called it luck. You may have called it timing. But I was there, guiding your steps when you could not see my hand. There's a story of a shepherd who noticed that one of his sheep kept wandering away from the safety of the flock. Again and again, the shepherd called for it. Sometimes the sheep listened. Sometimes it ignored the call because it was distracted by the grass around it. Yet every time it wandered too far, the shepherd would go after it. Not because he was angry, not because he wanted to punish it, but because he loved it too much to leave it lost. My beloved child, the shepherd is a picture of my heart toward you. There have been seasons when you felt distant from me, seasons when worries became louder than faith, seasons when disappointment built walls around your heart. Yet I never stopped calling your name. I never stopped pursuing you. My love has never been dependent on your perfection. My love has never been weakened by your mistakes. I have remained faithful through every chapter of your story. Even now, there may be things happening in your life that you do not understand. Questions remain unanswered. Certain burdens still feel heavy. But I need you to recognize that my silence was never absence. When a teacher gives a test, the teacher often becomes quiet. The quietness does not mean the teacher has disappeared. It means the student is being trusted to apply what has already been learned. In the same way, there were seasons when I seemed quiet because I was helping you grow stronger. I was teaching you to trust me beyond what your eyes could see. I was developing wisdom, patience, endurance, and faith inside you. The truth is that many of the answers you seek today began long before you started asking for them. I was preparing solutions before problems appeared. I was arranging connections before you knew you needed them. I was opening pathways while you were still wondering if a path even existed. My child, I know there were times when you doubted my direction. I know there were nights when you wondered if your prayers reached me. I know there were moments when your heart grew tired from waiting. But not a single prayer hath been ignored. Not a single tear hath been wasted. Not a single cry from your heart has gone unheard. The reason this message is urgent is because I do not want you to continue believing the lie that I have forgotten you. I do not want you to mistake your current circumstances for your final destination. I do not want you to overlook the evidence of my presence that has been surrounding you all along. Open your heart, my beloved child. Look again. The signs of my faithfulness are everywhere. The fact that you are still standing is proof that my hand has been holding you. The fact that hope still flickers inside you is proof that my spirit has been near. The fact that you are hearing these words right now is another reminder that I am still speaking. And as you continue listening, you will begin to understand that every step of your journey, even the confusing ones, has been leading you toward something greater than you can currently imagine. My beloved child, I know there are chapters of your life that you rarely talk about. There are memories you carry quietly, wounds you have learned to hide behind a smile, and battles you fought when no one seemed to understand what you were facing. There were moments when you wondered if you had reached your limit. Moments when the weight on your shoulders felt too heavy to carry. Moments when you questioned whether you would ever feel whole again. I was there through all of it. I was there during the nights when sleep would not come because your mind was crowded with worries. I was there when disappointment knocked the wind out of your hopes. I was there when people misunderstood you, when doors closed unexpectedly, and when circumstances unfolded in ways you never anticipated. Not one moment escaped my sight. There were times when you looked at your situation and thought, this might be the thing that finally breaks me. The pressure seemed endless. The uncertainty stretched on longer than you expected. The answers you hoped for did not arrive when you thought they would. You felt trapped between exhaustion and expectation. Yet here you were. Pause for a moment and recognize that truth. You are still here. The storm came, but you are still here. The disappointment came, but you are still here. The heartbreak came, but you are still here. The fear came, but you are still here. My beloved child, what you thought would destroy you became a chapter that revealed strength you never knew existed within you. You did not see it while you were walking through the valley. You were focused on surviving one day at a time. But now I want you to understand something important. The season that seemed determined to break you was also shaping you. Consider a piece of gold placed into a refining fire. If the gold could speak, it might believe the fire was its enemy. It might think the heat was punishment. It might wonder why such intense pressure was necessary. Yet the refiner understands something the gold cannot see. The fire is not there to destroy the gold. The fire is there to remove what does not belong so that the true beauty can emerge. In the same way, many of the trials you faced were not sent to destroy your future. They became places where courage was developed, wisdom was formed, and faith was strengthened. What felt like an ending was often preparation for a beginning you could not yet see. I know there were days when you felt alone. There were moments when you looked around and wondered why others seemed to move forward while you remained stuck. You questioned your progress. You questioned your purpose. Sometimes you even questioned yourself. But my child, I never questioned your value. Not once. The world may have measured you by your successes and failures. People may have judged you based on what they could see. But I saw the entire picture. I saw the battles nobody else knew about. I saw the strength it took for you to get out of bed when your heart felt heavy. I saw every time you chose to keep moving forward even when you wanted to give up. Those victories mattered. Those quiet acts of perseverance mattered. Those unseen moments of courage mattered. Nothing you endured was invisible to me. There is a reason farmers do not dig up seeds every day to check their growth. They understand that development often happens beneath the surface. The field may appear unchanged, yet something important is taking place underground. Roots are forming. Stability is being established. Growth is occurring where no one can see it. That is what happened during your difficult season. While you worried that nothing was changing, I was building roots within you. While you feared that time was being wasted, I was strengthening your foundation. While you questioned the journey, I was preparing you for things your present strength could not yet carry. My beloved child, do not despise the season that tested you. Do not allow pain to convince you that those chapters were meaningless. I can bring purpose from every struggle and beauty from every broken place. The story is larger than the pain you experienced. What you thought would break you has become evidence of my sustaining power. The fact that you survive is proof that my hand never left you. And as you continue forward, you will begin to see that even the hardest season of your life was not the end of your story. It was preparation for what comes next. My beloved child, one of the hardest things for the human heart is waiting for something it cannot see. You naturally want evidence. You want certainty. You want to know where the path leads before you take the next step. You want answers before the questions become too heavy. Yet there are seasons when I ask you to trust me beyond what your eyes can confirm. This is one of those seasons. Right now, there are things happening that you cannot see. There are pieces moving into place beyond your awareness. There are conversations taking place, opportunities developing, and circumstances shifting that have not yet entered your field of vision. Just because they are hidden from you does not mean they are absent. Think about the sunrise. Long before the first rays appear over the horizon, the sun is already moving into position. The darkness may convince someone that morning is still far away, but the truth is that dawn is approaching even while the sky remains dark. The evidence becomes visible only when the timing is right. My child, many people make the mistake of believing that what they can see is all that exists. But I am constantly working beyond the limits of human sight. I see the beginning and the end at the same time. I see paths you cannot yet recognize. I see solutions before problems fully develop. I see doors before you even know they exist. That is why I need you to stop measuring my activity by your current circumstances. When you look only at what is visible, you may conclude that nothing is changing. You may think your prayers are producing no results. You may wonder if your hopes are slipping further away with every passing day. But what if the very thing you are asking for is already being prepared? Imagine a master builder constructing a great house. Before anyone sees the beautiful rooms, the strong walls, or the finished roof, much of the work happens where few people notice. Foundations are laid. Measurements are taken. Materials are gathered. The preparation can seem slow and unremarkable. Yet without that hidden work, the visible structure could never stand. In the same way, much of my greatest work in your life happens beneath the surface. There are qualities I am developing within you that will support blessings you have not yet received. There is wisdom being formed. There is maturity being strengthened. There is discernment being sharpened. If I handed you everything immediately, without preparation, some of the very things you prayed for could become burdens rather than blessings. That is why waiting is not always a punishment. Often, waiting is preparation. I know waiting can feel uncomfortable. You live in a world that celebrates speed. Everything seems designed for immediate results. But my timing operates differently. I am not rushed by deadlines. I am not pressured by human expectations. I move according to wisdom, purpose, and perfect timing. There is a story of a young gardener who planted a fruit tree. Every day he walked outside hoping to see fruit hanging from its branches. Day after day, he became frustrated because nothing appeared. He began questioning whether the seed was good. He wondered if the effort had been wasted. What he did not understand was that the tree was busy growing roots. Those roots would eventually support years of fruitfulness, but before fruit could appear, the hidden foundation had to be established. My beloved child, there are roots growing in your life right now. The patience you are learning will serve you later. The faith you are developing will sustain you later. The lessons you are gaining will guide you later. The strength you are building will carry you later. Nothing is being wasted. I know there are moments when doubt tries to whisper in your ear. Doubt asks, what if nothing changes? Fear asks, what if this waiting never ends? Discouragement asks, what if the answer never comes? But I am asking you to listen to my voice instead. What you cannot see yet is not a reason to lose hope. It is a reason to trust more deeply. I am already present in your tomorrow. I am already standing in the places you have not reached. I am already preparing what you are still praying about. And when the time is right, what has been hidden will begin to emerge. One day, you will look back on this season and realize that while you thought nothing was happening, some of the most important work of your life was taking place behind the scenes. So do not give up now, my beloved child. Do not let appearances deceive you. Continue walking forward. Continue trusting. Continue believing. Because even now, beyond what your eyes can see, I am working on your behalf. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand about the season you are living through. Not every battle in your life is visible. Not every struggle can be explained by circumstances alone. There are moments when you look at what is happening around you and wonder why the pressure feels so intense. You wonder why discouragement appears just when hope begins to rise. You wonder why fear tries to invade your thoughts when you are trying your hardest to trust me. The reason is simple. There is often more happening than you can see. I do not tell you this to make you afraid. I tell you this so that you will understand why your heart sometimes feels caught between faith and doubt. There are forces in this world that want you to abandon hope. There are influences that want you to believe that your future is smaller than the plans I have prepared for you. There are voices that constantly try to convince you that your struggles are permanent and your prayers are powerless. But those voices are not telling you the truth. My child, every time you choose faith instead of fear, a battle is taking place. Every time you decide to keep moving forward, when discouragement tells you to quit, a battle is taking place. Every time you trust my promises despite difficult circumstances, a battle is taking place. Many people think battles only happen in moments of crisis. But some of the greatest battles occur quietly within the heart. The battle to keep believing. The battle to keep hoping. The battle to keep trusting when answers seem delayed. You have faced these battles more times than you realize. There were days when anxiety tried to take control of your thoughts. There were nights when worry painted dark pictures of the future. There were moments when disappointment whispered that nothing would ever change. Yet despite all of that, something inside you refused to completely surrender. That strength did not come from you alone. I was strengthening you. I was protecting you. I was standing beside you even when you could not feel my presence. Imagine a sailor crossing a vast ocean. You're in calm weather. The journey feels simple. The sky is clear. The waters are peaceful. But when a storm arrives, everything changes. Winds push against the vessel. Waves crash from every direction. The sailor may feel as though the storm is trying to destroy him. Yet what the sailor does not always realize is that storms reveal the strength of the ship. They reveal whether the anchor is secure. They reveal whether the vessel was built to withstand pressure. My beloved child, many of the storms you have faced have revealed something important. They revealed that your faith is stronger than you thought. They revealed that my hand has been holding you through every wave. They revealed that even when life became difficult, you were not abandoned. There are times when resistance increases because you are moving closer to something significant. A runner often feels the greatest strain near the final stretch of a race. The muscles burn. The lungs ache. The finish line is near, yet the effort feels greater than ever. Do not be surprised when challenges arise as you move toward growth, healing, and purpose. Resistance does not always mean you are heading in the wrong direction. Sometimes it means you are advancing despite opposition. That is why I need you to stop interpreting every difficulty as a sign that something is wrong. The closed door is not always rejection. The delay is not always denial. The challenge is not always defeat. Many times I am using those very circumstances to strengthen your character, deepen your faith, and prepare you for what lies ahead. My child, you do not need to fight every battle with your own strength. Some burdens were never meant to rest on your shoulders. Some fears were never meant to control your future. Some worries were never meant to dominate your thoughts. Bring them to me. When fear speaks, listen to my voice. When doubt appears, remember my faithfulness. When discouragement arrives, remember how many times I have already carried you through impossible situations. You are not standing alone on this battlefield. You are not facing your struggles without help. Even when your emotions tell you otherwise, my presence surrounds you. My protection covers you. My strength is available to you. The battle around you may be real, but so is my power. The pressure may feel intense, but my peace is greater. The obstacles may seem large, but they are not larger than me. So hold your head high, my beloved child. Refuse to surrender your hope. Refuse to let fear write the ending of your story. What is happening around you does not determine your future. I do. And while you may not see every battle being fought on your behalf, know this with certainty. I am already working where you cannot see, and I have not lost control of a single detail. My beloved child, there are moments in life when everything seems unchanged on the surface, yet a great shift is quietly approaching. You wake up to the same surroundings. You face the same responsibilities. You see the same challenges. Nothing appears different. Yet beneath the surface, circumstances are moving, opportunities are forming, and doors are being prepared that you cannot yet see. This is why I need you to remain alert in this season. Too many people become discouraged just before their breakthrough arrives. They become weary during the final stretch of waiting. They assume that because nothing has happened yet, nothing ever will. But my child, what if the very thing you have been praying for is closer than you think? There is a reason I have been asking you to listen carefully. I want you to understand that my timing is different from human timing. You often measure progress by what happens today, this week, or this month. But I see the complete picture. I see connections that have not yet been made. I see opportunities that have not yet appeared. I see people you have not yet met and places you have not yet gone. And because I see what you cannot see, I know when the door is truly ready to open. Think of a farmer standing in a field. He plants seeds and waits. Day after day, he sees little evidence of change. If he becomes impatient and tries to harvest too early, he gains nothing. A fruit must mature. The timing must be right. In the same way, there are blessings that require preparation before they can be fully received. If they arrive too early, they may become burdens instead of blessings. That is why some doors remain closed for a season. Not because I am withholding good things from you, but because I am ensuring that when the door opens, you are ready to walk through it. My beloved child, some of the delays you have experienced have actually been protection. There were opportunities you thought you wanted that would have led you away from your purpose. There were relationships you wished would remain that could not go where I am taking you. There were plans you tried to force that were smaller than the plans I had prepared. At the time, those closed doors felt painful. You questioned them. You grieved them. You wondered why they happened. But now I want you to consider another possibility. What if those closed doors were not signs of rejection? What if they were signs of guidance? A skilled guide does not allow a traveler to wander into dangerous territory simply because the traveler wants to go there. The guide sees risks that the traveler cannot see. The guide understands the road ahead. My child, I have been guiding you. Even when you misunderstood my direction, I was guiding you. Even when you became frustrated by delays, I was guiding you. Even when you felt disappointed by outcomes, I was guiding you. And now, because of that guidance, you are closer to the right door than you realize. But I need you to be careful. When the new opportunity appears, do not allow fear to talk you out of it. Sometimes people pray for change, but when change finally arrives, they become afraid to embrace it. They become comfortable with familiar struggles because uncertainty feels risky. Do not let fear keep you standing outside a door that I have opened. Do not let past disappointments convince you that future blessings are impossible. Do not let old wounds define what I can do next. The key to walking through a new door is not having all the answers. The key is trusting the one who opened it. There may soon be opportunities that require courage. There may be decisions that require faith. There may be moments when you feel stretched beyond your comfort zone. But remember this: I never call my children into a new season without also providing the strength they need to walk through it. You do not have to carry tomorrow's worries today. You do not have to solve every future problem before it arrives. You do not have to know every detail of the journey. You only need to trust me one step at a time. My beloved child, the waiting season has taught you lessons that will soon become valuable. The patience you developed was not wasted. The wisdom you gained was not wasted. The growth you experienced was not wasted. Everything has been preparing you for what comes next. So keep your heart open. Keep your faith alive. Continue walking forward with expectation. Refuse to let discouragement convince you that nothing is changing. Because while you have been waiting, I have been preparing. And when the time is right, the door that seemed impossible to open will move before you, and you will discover that I was working on it all along. My beloved child, as you stand on the edge of a new season, there is something important I need you to understand. Not everything from your past is meant to travel with you into your future. Some things must be released before you can fully receive what I have prepared for you. I know that is not always easy. There are hurts you have carried for so long that they feel like part of your identity. There are disappointments that left deep marks on your heart. There are memories that still sting when they return unexpectedly. There are words spoken over you years ago that somehow continue to echo in your mind. And there are regrets that you revisit over and over, wondering what might have happened if you had chosen differently. But my child, carrying yesterday's burdens will eventually make it difficult to embrace tomorrow's blessings. Imagine a traveler preparing for a long journey. If he fills his arms with unnecessary weight, every mile becomes harder. The path itself may be manageable, but the extra burden slows him down. Eventually, exhaustion begins to replace excitement. The problem is not the road. The problem is what he refuses to put down. Many of my children are trying to move forward while carrying weights they were never meant to bear. You cannot fully embrace healing while holding tightly to bitterness. You cannot fully experience peace while continually feeding old fears. You cannot fully step into freedom while remaining chained to past regrets. That is why I am speaking to you about release. Not because I want to take something valuable from you, but because I want to free you from what is limiting you. My beloved child, there are people who hurt you. Some disappointed you. Some abandoned you. Some misunderstood you. Some made promises they never intended to keep. The wounds they left behind were real. I am not asking you to pretend they never happened. I am not asking you to ignore your pain. I am asking you to stop allowing those wounds to control your future. Forgiveness does not mean approving of what happened. It does not mean forgetting every painful memory. Forgiveness means refusing to allow someone else's actions to continue occupying space that belongs to your peace. Every day you hold on to bitterness, it asks for your energy. Every day you nurture resentment, it demands your attention. Every day you replay old offenses, they continue influencing your present. But my child, your future is too valuable to be governed by past injuries. There are also regrets you need to release. How many times have you replayed certain decisions in your mind? How many times have you wished you could go back and change a conversation, a choice, or a missed opportunity. You tell yourself that if you had acted differently, life would look completely different today. Perhaps some things would be different. But dwelling endlessly on what cannot be changed will not create the future you desire. I am not limited by your mistakes. I am not defeated by your failures. I am not surprised by your past. Long before you recognized your errors, I already knew every chapter of your story. Yet my love for you never changed. My purpose for you never disappeared. My plans for your life were not canceled because you stumbled. Consider a sculptor working with a block of stone. To an observer, each strike of the hammer may appear destructive. Pieces fall away. Fragments scatter to the ground. Yet the sculptor is not destroying the stone. The sculptor is revealing what was hidden within it. In the same way, there are things I am helping you release because they no longer belong in the person you are becoming. The fear that says you are not enough. The shame that tells you your past defines you. The guilt that insists you are beyond restoration. The doubt that questions whether change is possible. These things are not your identity. You are not your worst mistake. You are not your deepest wound. You are not the labels others placed upon you. You are my beloved child. And because you belong to me, your story is still being written. My child, there is freedom waiting on the other side of release. There is peace waiting on the other side of surrender. There is healing waiting on the other side of trust. I know letting go can feel frightening because familiar pain sometimes feels safer than unfamiliar freedom. But I need you to trust me. What I have ahead for you is greater than what you are leaving behind. The burden you have carried for years does not have to define the years ahead. So release it. Release the bitterness. Release the regret. Release the guilt. Release the fear. Place it in my hands. And as you do, you will begin to discover that the strength you have been searching for was never found in carrying the burden. It is found in finally letting it go. Because where I am leading you next, my beloved child, freedom will be necessary for the journey. My beloved child, there is a burden many people carry without even realizing it. It follows them from season to season. It influences their decisions, shapes their confidence, and quietly affects the way they see themselves. It is the burden of defining their identity by their failures. I need you to hear me clearly today. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not the collection of your disappointments. You are not the record of every wrong turn you have taken. Yet so often, that is exactly how you see yourself. You look back at certain chapters of your life and immediately focus on what went wrong. You remember opportunities you missed. You remember moments when fear stopped you from acting. You remember decisions that led to pain. You remember seasons when you fell short of your own expectations. And because those memories remain vivid, you sometimes allow them to become the lens through which you view your entire life. But my child, if a single storm passes through a garden, does the gardener call the entire garden ruined? Of course not. The gardener understands that one difficult season does not define the future harvest. Why then do you allow a few failures to define your entire story? The enemy of your peace would like nothing more than for you to become trapped in a cycle of self-condemnation. If he can keep your eyes fixed on your past, he can distract you from your future. If he can convince you that your mistakes are permanent, he could discourage you from pursuing the purpose I have placed before you. But I am calling you to see yourself differently. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child takes a few uncertain steps and then falls. No loving parent looks at that child and declares, "You failed. Walking is not for you." Instead, the parent encourages the child to get up and try again. The fall is not proof of inability. It is part of the learning process. My beloved child, many of the failures you regret were not the end of your journey. They were lessons along the way. Some taught you wisdom. Some taught you humility. Some taught you patience. Some taught you discernment. And some taught you how strong you truly are. The lessons were valuable, even if the experience was painful. I know there are moments when shame still tries to speak to you. Shame has a way of exaggerating your failures while minimizing your growth. It constantly reminds you of what you did wrong but rarely acknowledges how far you have come. Shame says you will never change. I say, you are growing every day. Shame says, your past defines you. I say, your future is still unfolding. Shame says you are disqualified. I say you are still called. My child, there is a tremendous difference between conviction and condemnation. Conviction helps you learn and grow. Condemnation tries to keep you trapped. Conviction points toward healing. Condemnation points toward hopelessness. I do not speak to my children with endless condemnation. I speak life. I speak restoration. I speak purpose. I speak hope. Consider an artist creating a masterpiece. During the process, there may be smudges, corrections, and adjustments. If someone judged the artwork halfway through its creation, they might completely misunderstand what the artist is doing. What appears imperfect in one moment may become beautiful in the final design. You are still in the process. You are still being shaped. You are still becoming. Do not judge your entire life based on unfinished chapters. Do not assume that your current struggles represent your final destination. Do not believe that a mistake has the authority to cancel everything I have spoken over you. My beloved child, I see you differently than you see yourself. Where you see failure, I see growth. Where you see weakness, I see potential. Where you see disappointment, I see preparation. Where you see broken pieces, I see a story of restoration being written. There are gifts within you that have not fully emerged yet. There are strengths within you that have not fully developed yet. There are purposes attached to your life that extend far beyond the mistakes you continue to replay in your mind. That is why I need you to stop measuring your worth by your failures. Measure it by my love. Measure it by my faithfulness. Measure it by the fact that I have never abandoned you. Measure it by the truth that you are still here, still growing, still learning, and still moving forward. You do not have to be perfect for me to love you. You do not have to earn my affection. You do not have to prove your value. You are my beloved child. And because of that, your failures may be part of your story, but they will never be the title of your story. The title of your story is not failure. The title of your story is redemption. And what I am preparing for you next will help you see that more clearly than ever before. My beloved child, there are promises I placed within your heart long ago that you have almost forgotten. There were dreams that once filled you with excitement. There were hopes that felt alive and vibrant. There were visions of what your future could become. Yet as time passed, challenges appeared, delays accumulated, and disappointments arrived. Slowly, some of those dreams were pushed into the background. You did not stop believing all at once. It happened little by little. A closed door here, a setback there, an unanswered prayer, an unexpected loss, a season that lasted longer than you anticipated. And before you knew it, the promises that once seemed so clear became difficult to see. But my child, I have not forgotten what I spoke over your life. Not one promise has escaped my attention. Not one dream that I planted had been lost. Not one purpose attached to your life has disappeared. The passage of time does not weaken my promises. Delays do not cancel my plans. Obstacles do not surprise me. What I begin, I am capable of completing. I know there have been moments when you questioned whether you misunderstood my direction. You wondered if perhaps the dream was unrealistic. You wondered if the opportunity had passed you by. You looked at your circumstances and concluded that maybe it was too late. But I need you to listen carefully. Just because something has not happened yet does not mean it never will. A promise delayed is not the same as a promise denied. Think of an oak tree. The acorn carries within it the potential for something magnificent, but the transformation does not happen overnight. Years pass before the tree reaches its full stature. During those years, much of the growth seems slow and invisible, yet every season contributes to the final result. In the same way, many of my promises unfold through a process. You often focus on the destination, while I focus on both the destination and the journey. I understand that certain experiences must occur before you are fully prepared for what lies ahead. I understand that certain lessons must be learned and certain strengths must be developed. It does not mean the promise is forgotten. It means the promise is still growing. My beloved child, there are dreams you buried because protecting yourself from disappointment felt easier than continuing to hope. You told yourself not to expect too much. You convinced yourself not to get excited. You lowered your expectations because repeated delays had worn down your confidence. I understand why you felt that way. Waiting can be exhausting. Believing can feel difficult when visible evidence is scarce. Hope can feel vulnerable after disappointment. But hope is not weakness. Hope is courage. Hope is the decision to trust that what you cannot yet see may still be possible. There is a story of a man who carried a small pouch of seeds. Every day he looked at the barren land around him and wondered if planting them was worth the effort. The ground seemed dry. Even seemed uncertain. Yet he chose to plant them anyway. Months passed with little visible change. Others mocked his persistence. Some suggested he give up, but he continued caring for the field. Eventually, growth appeared. What looked lifeless began to flourish. What seemed hopeless revealed unexpected abundance. My child, many of my promises require that same kind of faith. Not blind faith, not unrealistic faith, but faith that trusts my character even when circumstances seem unclear. You remember how many times I have already carried you through situations you thought would never improve. Remember the doors that opened unexpectedly. Remember the strength that appeared when you thought you had none left. Remember the ways I have provided for you before. Those moments were not accidents. They were reminders of my faithfulness. The same God who guided you then is guiding you now. The same God who provided before can provide again. The same God who fulfilled promises in the past is still capable of fulfilling promises today. My beloved child, some of the promises attached to your life are closer than they appear. The waiting may have been long, but the story is not finished. The chapter you are living in today is not the final chapter. I need you to stop speaking to yourself as though your best days are behind you. Do not assume that opportunity has expired. Do not assume that healing is impossible. Do not assume that restoration is out of reach. Do not assume that your purpose has diminished. What I have spoken over your life remains alive. Even now, I am working in ways you cannot fully see. Even now, I am arranging circumstances beyond your awareness. Even now, I am preparing connections, opportunities, and moments that will make sense later. So lift your eyes again, my beloved child. Allow yourself to hope again. Allow yourself to believe again. Because the promise I spoke over your life was never dependent on perfect circumstances. It was always dependent on me, and I have not changed. The dream may have been delayed, but it has not been forgotten. The promise may seem distant, but it is still moving toward its appointed time, and very soon you will begin to see evidence that what I spoke over your life is still unfolding exactly as I intended. My beloved child, you have come this far for a reason. These words are not crossing your path by chance. Every part of this journey has been leading to this moment because there is something I need you to understand with complete clarity. The direction of your life is often shaped by the voice you choose to believe. If you listen only to fear, fear will convince you that every obstacle is permanent. If you listen only to doubt, doubt will convince you that every delay is a defeat. If you listen only to disappointment, disappointment will persuade you that your best days are already behind you. But if you listen to my voice, everything begins to change. My voice reminds you that delays are not denials. My voice reminds you that closed doors do not mean abandoned dreams. My voice reminds you that your current circumstances are not your final destination. This is why this message matters. Not because these are merely encouraging words. Not because they provide temporary comfort. This message matters because it is calling you to see your life differently. It is calling you to stop interpreting your future through the lens of your fears and start viewing it through the lens of my faithfulness. For too long, many of my children have allowed uncertainty to dictate their expectations. They wake up expecting disappointment. They anticipate failure before taking a step. They prepare themselves for rejection before opportunities even arrive. But that is not how I want you to live. I want you to live with expectation. Not because life will always be easy. Not because challenges will disappear overnight. But because you know that I am with you. Imagine a sailor navigating through fog. The fog may prevent him from seeing the entire journey ahead, but he continues moving because he trusts the compass. The compass provides direction even when visibility is limited. My beloved child, my voice is your compass. You do not need to see every detail. You do not need to understand every delay. You do not need to predict every outcome. You simply need to trust the one who sees what you cannot. That trust has the power to change everything. It changes the way you face challenges. It changes the way you approach uncertainty. It changes the way you interpret setbacks. It changes the way you see yourself. The moment you stop allowing fear to define your expectations, new possibilities begin to emerge. The moment you stop assuming that every obstacle is permanent, hope begins to grow again. The moment you recognize that I am still working, even when circumstances appear unchanged, your perspective begins to shift. And when your perspective changes, your life begins to change with it. My child, some of the greatest transformations begin long before circumstances improve. They begin when a heart chooses to trust. They begin when a person decides to believe that my promises are greater than present difficulties. A decision is powerful. A decision can alter the course of your future. A decision can become the turning point you have been waiting for. So today, I am asking you to make a choice. Choose trust over fear. Choose hope over despair. Choose faith over doubt. Choose to believe that I am still writing your story. Because I have not brought you this far to abandon you now. I have not carried you through previous storms only to leave you in this one. I have not planted promises within your heart only to forget them. The same hand that guided you yesterday is guiding you today. The same love that sustained you before is sustaining you now. The same power that opened doors in the past is capable of opening doors again. This message could change everything because it is inviting you to stop looking at what is against you and start remembering who is with you. And when you truly understand that, nothing remains the same. My beloved child, as you respond to this urgent call and allow my voice to guide your steps, I am also inviting you into a greater mission. Every word of encouragement, every message of hope, every soul reached through this channel becomes a seed planted in hearts across the world. As it is written, the one who sows generously will also reap generously, and today that truth is alive and speaking directly to you. If this message has strengthened your spirit, hear my invitation. Help this light reach someone who is still sitting in darkness. Through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal donation found in the video description and through the QR code shown in this video, you can become part of this harvest of hope. Your gift is not merely support. It becomes a river that carries healing, encouragement, and my love to countless hearts. This is your moment to place a seed into fertile ground and watch it multiply beyond what you can imagine. I tell you, every act of generosity becomes a testimony that shines far beyond your sight. Those who respond in faith become partners in spreading living water to thirsty souls. I bless every hand that gives, every heart that obeys, and every person who answers this call with faith. Do not delay what I am prompting you to do today. Step forward now and sow your seed into this mission. My beloved child, there is a question I want you to consider today. How many opportunities have been delayed, not because the door was closed, but because fear convinced you not to walk through it? How many blessings have stood before you while uncertainty whispered reasons to stay where you were? How many times have you sensed me calling you forward, yet hesitation held you back? I ask these questions not to condemn you, but to help you recognize something important. Fear has a way of disguising itself as wisdom. It often sounds reasonable. It presents arguments that seem logical. It points to risks, highlights difficulties, and magnifies uncertainty. But fear rarely tells the whole story. Fear will show you every possible failure while hiding every possible success. Fear will remind you of every disappointment while ignoring every victory. Fear will focus your attention on what could go wrong while remaining silent about what could go right. That is why you must be careful about allowing fear to make important decisions for your life. My beloved child, fear was never designed to be your guide. I am your guide. Fear sees obstacles. I see opportunities. Fear sees limitations. I see possibility. Fear sees the size of the mountain. I see the path over it. Think about a young eagle standing at the edge of a cliff for the first time. Everything within that eagle may resist the leap. The air below seems uncertain. The distance appears intimidating. The familiar nest feels safe. But the eagle was not created to remain in the nest forever. Its purpose can only be discovered when it trusts what it was created to do. Many of my children find themselves standing at similar edges in life. Some are standing at the edge of a new opportunity. Some are standing at the edge of healing. Some are standing at the edge of forgiveness. Some are standing at the edge of a dream they have carried for years. And fear keeps whispering, "Stay where you are. At least it is familiar." But my child, familiar is not always faithful. Comfortable is not always beneficial. Safe is not always where growth happens. There are seasons when I call you beyond what feels comfortable because there are things you can only discover through trust. I know what fear feels like. I know how uncertainty can affect your thoughts. I know how your mind sometimes races ahead, imagining every possible problem before it even exists. I know how difficult it can be to move forward when the outcome is not guaranteed. But remember this: courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to trust me even when fear is present. Some people believe that those who walk by faith never feel afraid. That is not true. Many courageous people felt fear. The difference is that they refused to let fear have the final word. The sailor still sailed despite the storm. The farmer still planted despite the uncertainty. The traveler still walked despite not knowing every turn in the road. And they moved forward because they trusted something greater than their fears. My beloved child, there are decisions ahead that may require courage. There may be conversations you need to have. There may be opportunities you need to embrace. There may be habits you need to release. There may be steps of faith that seem intimidating from where you currently stand. When those moments come, do not ask yourself only, what if this goes wrong? Also ask, what if this is the very thing God hath been preparing me for? What if the opportunity is an answer to prayer? What if the change leads to growth? What if the challenge develops strength? What if the open door leads to a greater purpose? Fear rarely asks those questions. Faith does. That is why I want you to listen carefully whenever fear begins speaking loudly. The fear often rises. Fear pressures. Fear creates panic. But my voice brings peace, even when I am calling you toward something new. My direction may stretch you, but it will not enslave you. My guidance may challenge you, but it will not torment you. My plans may require trust, but they are rooted in love. Remember all the times you thought you would not make it through a difficult season. Remember the moments when you doubted your strength. Remember the obstacles that once looked impossible. You survived those moments because I was with you. The same truth remains today. You do not face tomorrow's decisions alone. You do not walk into the future without guidance. You do not carry the weight of every outcome on your shoulders. I am with you. So when fear comes knocking at the door of your heart, do not hand it the keys. Let faith answer instead. Because the future I am leading you toward is too important to be decided by fear. Trust me, my beloved child. Take the step and watch what becomes possible when fear no longer controls the direction of your life. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand today. You have been carrying burdens that were never meant to rest on your shoulders. Some of them have been with you for so long that you no longer notice their weight. You have adapted to carrying them. You have learned to function while exhausted. You have become accustomed to worrying, striving, and holding everything together. But just because you have carried a burden for a long time does not mean it belongs to you. I see the invisible weight you carry. I see the pressure you place upon yourself. I see the responsibilities that keep your mind racing. I see the concerns you rarely speak about. I see the silent fears hidden behind your strength. And today, I want to remind you that you were never created to carry life alone. Many people live as though everything depends entirely on them. They believe that if they do not solve every problem, disaster will follow. They believe that if they stop worrying, they are being irresponsible. They believe that carrying the weight of every possible outcome somehow protects them from disappointment. But my child, worry has never created peace. Anxiety has never added strength. Fear has never improved tomorrow. These burdens drain your energy while giving very little in return. Imagine a traveler crossing a long road while carrying a backpack filled with stones. At first, the extra weight may seem manageable. But mile after mile, the burden becomes heavier. The shoulders ache. The legs weaken. The journey becomes harder than it needs to be. Now imagine someone offering to remove those stones, yet the traveler refuses because he has grown used to carrying them. How many of my children live this way? They carry old fears. They carry future worries. They carry guilt from the past. They carry pressure to meet everyone's expectations. They carry burdens that I never asked them to hold. And then they wonder why they feel exhausted. My beloved child, I am not asking you to ignore reality. I am not asking you to pretend challenges do not exist. Life contains real responsibilities. There are decisions to make, problems to solve, and situations that require wisdom. But there is a difference between responsibility and burden. Responsibility means doing your part. Burden means trying to carry what belongs to me. You are responsible for your obedience. You are not responsible for controlling every outcome. You are responsible for taking the next step. You are not responsible for knowing every detail of the journey. You are responsible for trusting me. You are not responsible for carrying the entire future on your shoulders. Some of you have been trying to carry tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. Your mind races through possibilities, creating scenarios that may never happen. You spend today's strength worrying about future problems that do not yet exist. Meanwhile, the peace available to you right now remains untouched because your attention is trapped in uncertainty. My child, I already stand in your tomorrow. The future that worries you is not hidden from me. The situation that concerns you is not beyond my reach. The problem that seems overwhelming to you is not overwhelming to me. That is why I keep inviting you to trust. Trust is not weakness. Trust is not avoidance. Trust is the recognition that there is a limit to what you can carry, but there is no limit to what I can carry. Think about a small child walking beside a loving father. When the child becomes tired, the father does not criticize the child for needing help. The father lifts the child into his arms. The burden becomes lighter because the father shares the weight. That is my heart toward you. I am not standing at a distance demanding that you figure everything out on your own. I am inviting you closer. I am offering my strength where yours feels insufficient. I am offering my peace where your mind feels restless. The challenge is that many people keep holding tightly to their burdens even while asking for relief. They pray for peace but continue feeding fear. They pray for rest but refuse to release control. My beloved child, peace often begins with surrender. Not surrender to defeat. Surrender to trust. Surrender to the truth that I am capable of handling what you cannot. Surrender to the reality that my wisdom exceeds your understanding. Surrender to the certainty that my love for you has not changed. Today, I want you to imagine placing every burden into my hands. The financial concerns, the relationship struggles, the unanswered questions, the future uncertainties, the fears that keep returning. Place them all before me, not because they are insignificant, but because they matter too much to carry alone. You were never designed to live crushed beneath the weight of constant anxiety. You were created to walk with me. You were created to experience my peace even in uncertain seasons. You were created to find rest in my presence. So take a deep breath, my beloved child. Release what does not belong to you. Let go of the weight you were never meant to carry. And as you place those burdens in my hands, you will begin to discover something beautiful. The strength you have been searching for is not found in carrying more. It is found in trusting me more. My beloved child, there are conversations that happen in the quiet hours when no one else is around. There are thoughts that visit you when the day grows silent. There are worries that become louder when the distractions disappear. During those moments, when the lights are off and the world seems still, your mind sometimes begins carrying burdens that feel impossible to escape. I know those moments. I know the questions that circle through your thoughts. I know the concerns you rarely share with anyone. I know the fears that hide beneath your brave face. I know the uncertainty that occasionally settles over your heart. Nothing about your struggle is hidden from me. There have been nights when you replayed conversations in your mind, wondering if you said the right thing. There have been nights when you worried about the future, trying to solve problems that have not even arrived yet. There have been nights when you questioned whether things would ever improve. Nights when disappointment felt heavier than hope. And through every one of those moments, I was there. You may have felt alone, but you were not alone. You may have felt unseen, but you were not unseen. You may have felt forgotten, but you were never forgotten. My child, one of the greatest battles many people face is not around them. It is within them. It is the battle for peace. Your thoughts are powerful. They can encourage you, strengthen you, and guide you toward hope. But they can also become crowded with fear, assumptions, and worries that slowly drain your joy. That is why I want you to understand something important. Not every thought deserves your agreement. Just because a fearful thought enters your mind does not mean it is true. Just because a worry repeats itself does not mean it deserves your trust. Just because a possibility exists does not mean it will become your reality. Too often, people allow their minds to become occupied by scenarios that never happen. They spend hours worrying about outcomes that never arrive. They lose today's peace because they are trying to control tomorrow. But my beloved child, tomorrow has never been sustained by worry. Tomorrow is sustained by me. Imagine a lantern being carried through a dark forest at night. The lantern does not illuminate the entire path. It simply provides enough light for the next step. Yet that small light is enough to keep the traveler moving forward. Many people want me to reveal every detail of their future before they take a step. They want complete certainty before they trust. They want every question answered before they move forward. But often, I provide light for the next step rather than the entire journey. The challenge is learning to trust the light you have been given. I know that some of your worries feel reasonable. You think about your family. You think about your responsibilities. You think about your health, your finances, your future, and the people you love. You want everything to be okay. A desire comes from a caring heart. But there is a difference between caring and caring. You can care deeply without carrying the entire weight of the situation. You can be concerned without becoming consumed. You can plan wisely without living in constant fear. My child, the reason you often feel exhausted is because your mind was not designed to carry endless anxiety. You were created for trust. You were created for peace. You were created to live in relationship with me, not in slavery to fear. There is a reason I keep reminding you of my presence. Because peace does not come from having all the answers. Peace comes from knowing who holds the answers. Peace does not come from controlling every outcome. Peace comes from trusting the one who remains in control. Think of a child sleeping peacefully during a storm. The thunder may rumble. The wind may shake the windows. Yet the child rests because the child trusts the Father who is nearby. The child does not understand the weather. The child does not control the storm. The child simply trusts. My beloved child, I am inviting you into that kind of trust. Not childish ignorance, but childlike confidence. Confidence that I know what you need. Confidence that I see what you cannot see. Confidence that I am already present in situations that have not yet unfolded. Tonight, when worries try to return, remember this truth. I already know what concerns you. I know the prayer you have repeated 100 times. I know the burden you keep carrying. I know the answer you are waiting for. And I know exactly how much strength you need for this season. You do not have to convince me to care. I already care. You do not have to earn my attention. You already have it. You do not have to face your fears by yourself. I am with you. So when anxiety knocks at the door of your mind, do not invite it to stay. Bring your concerns to me instead. Let me carry what is too heavy. Let me calm what feels restless. Let me strengthen what feels weak. Because the same God who watches over the stars is watching over you. And tonight, my beloved child, you can rest knowing that I am still awake, still working, and still holding every detail of your life securely in my hands. My beloved child, I want you to consider a possibility that your fears have often tried to hide from you. What if everything is about to change? What if the season you have been waiting for is closer than you think? What if the answers you have prayed for are already moving toward you, even though you cannot yet see them? Too often, when people imagine the future, they do so through the lens of their past experiences. If they have known disappointment, they expect more disappointment. If they have faced setbacks, they expect more setbacks. If they have experienced delays, they assume every promise will continue to be delayed. But my child, your past is not your prophecy. Your previous struggles are not a prediction of your future. Just because something has happened before does not mean it will happen again. I need you to understand this, because many people become so accustomed to surviving that they forget how to expect good things. They become experts at preparing for problems but strangers to anticipation. They learn how to endure hardship but forget how to recognize possibility. Yet I am calling you into a season of expectation. Not because every challenge will disappear overnight. Not because life will suddenly become effortless. But because I want your heart to remain open to what I am doing. Imagine a person standing outside during winter. The trees are bare. The ground is cold. Everything appears lifeless. If that person judged the future only by what they could currently see, they might conclude that growth will never return. But hidden beneath the surface, spring is already approaching. The seasons are already shifting. The change is already in motion. The evidence simply has not appeared yet. My beloved child, many lives remain stuck because people assume that today's reality will last forever. They forget that seasons change. They forget that circumstances evolve. They forget that I specialize in bringing life where others see only limitations. How many times have I taken what seemed impossible and transformed it into something beautiful? How many times have I opened a door no one expected? How many times have I provided a solution when none seemed available? How many times have I strengthened you when you thought you had reached your limit? The same God who did those things before is still active today. The same God who carried you through previous storms is still carrying you now. The same God who brought you this far has not suddenly lost the ability to lead you further. My child, I know there are areas of your life that feel unchanged. There are prayers you continue to pray. There are dreams you continue to carry. There are situations that seem stubbornly resistant to improvement. But do not mistake silence for inactivity. Do not mistake waiting for abandonment. Do not mistake delay for defeat. Many of the greatest changes begin long before they become visible. Consider a river carving its way through stone. Day after day, the water flows. At first, little appears to happen. But over time, what seemed immovable begins to change. The water's persistence accomplishes what force alone could not. In the same way, my work in your life is often gradual before it becomes obvious. I am shaping things you cannot yet measure. I am preparing opportunities you cannot yet access. I am aligning circumstances you cannot yet understand. And when the timing is right, what seemed impossible will begin to unfold naturally. But there is something important you must do while you wait. Stay ready. Stay hopeful. Stay available. Do not allow disappointment to harden your heart. Do not allow frustration to steal your expectation. Do not allow previous setbacks to convince you that nothing good is coming. The people who recognize new seasons are often the people who remain open to possibility. If a farmer refuses to believe spring is coming, he will never prepare the field. If a sailor refuses to believe the wind can change, he will never raise the sail. If a traveler refuses to believe a destination exists, he will stop walking. My beloved child, keep preparing your heart. Keep nurturing your faith. Keep making room for what I may do next. Because sometimes the greatest mistake people make is assuming that tomorrow will look exactly like today. What if it does not? What if the conversation that changes everything is closer than you think? What if the opportunity is already being prepared? What if the healing has already begun? What if the breakthrough is already moving toward you? What if the answer is nearer than it appears? I am not asking you to ignore reality. I am asking you not to limit me to your current reality. There is more happening than you can see. There is more possible than you realize. There is more ahead than what lies behind. So lift your eyes, my beloved child. Refuse to settle into hopelessness. Refuse to assume that the story has reached its final chapter. Because I am the author of your story. And if I am still writing, then change is always possible. In fact, the very thing you have been waiting for may be much closer than you think. My beloved child, one of the most difficult experiences in life is waiting for something you deeply desire while feeling as though nothing is happening. Waiting tests your patience. It challenges your faith. It exposes your fears. It forces you to confront questions that immediate answers would never reveal. And yet, some of the most valuable lessons in your life are learned during these very seasons. I know you have asked, why is this taking so long? I know you have wondered why certain prayers seem unanswered. I know you have looked at the calendar and questioned why the promise has not arrived yet. I know there have been moments when frustration tried to replace faith. But my child, I need you to understand that delay is not always an obstacle. Sometimes delay is a classroom. Many people focus entirely on where they want to go, but they overlook what they need to learn before they arrive there. They become so focused on the destination that they miss the transformation happening during the journey. Yet I am interested in more than simply getting you to a destination. I am interested in preparing you for it. Imagine a young tree growing in an open field. If it could choose its own growth process, it might want to become tall overnight. It might wish to skip years of development and immediately reach maturity. But if that happened, the tree would lack the roots necessary to support its height. A first strong wind could destroy. The very growth it desired would become the reason for its collapse. My beloved child, there are blessings that require strong roots. There are opportunities that require wisdom. There are responsibilities that require maturity. There are answers that require preparation. And sometimes what feels like a delay is actually the process of strengthening your roots. You often pray for greater things, greater influence, greater opportunities, greater healing, greater pavilion, greater purpose. And I hear those prayers. But I also know what is necessary for those blessings to remain healthy once they arrive. That is why I do not rush the process. A builder does not rush the foundation of a house. A farmer does not rush the growth of a harvest. A teacher does not hand out diplomas before the lessons are learned. Preparation takes time, and preparation is never wasted. My child, look back over your life for a moment. Think about who you were 5 years ago. Think about the things that once overwhelmed you. Think about the fears that once controlled you. Think about the lessons you had not yet learned. You are not the same person today. You have grown. You have matured. You have gained wisdom through experience. You have developed strength through adversity. Many of those qualities were formed during seasons you once wished would end immediately. The delay became part of your development. Here is a story of a potter shaping clay on a wheel. The clay may not understand why it is being pressed, stretched, and reshaped. From the clay's perspective, the process may seem uncomfortable and unnecessary, but the potter sees the finished vessel. The potter understands what the clay can become, and every movement serves a purpose. My beloved child, I see what you can become. I see gifts that have not fully emerged yet. I see strength that is still developing. I see opportunities ahead that require qualities you are currently learning. The waiting season is not empty. The delay is not meaningless. Even now, valuable work is taking place within you. Patience is growing. Character is deepening. Wisdom is increasing. Faith is becoming stronger. And these things will serve you long after the waiting season ends. I know there are days when you become tired of waiting. There are moments when you compare your timeline to someone else's. You wonder why their doors seem to open while yours remain closed. You wonder why their journey appears faster. But my child, comparison is one of the quickest ways to lose sight of your own path. You are not walking their journey. You are walking yours. The plans I have for you are unique. The preparation I am doing in you is specific. The timing attached to your life is intentional. Trusting my timing does not mean you stop moving forward. It means you stop measuring my faithfulness by the speed of visible results. Remember this: a delayed harvest can still be abundant. A delayed answer can still be perfect. A delayed breakthrough can still arrive at exactly the right moment. And when that moment comes, you will often realize that the waiting accomplished more than you initially understood. One day, you will look back and see that what felt like a frustrating delay was actually a season of preparation. You will recognize lessons that protected you, wisdom that guided you, and growth that strengthened you. You will understand that I was not withholding good things from you. I was preparing you for them. So do not despise this season, my beloved child. Do not assume that nothing is happening. Continue trusting. Continue growing. Continue walking forward. Because the lesson hidden in the delay is preparing you for blessings that would not have been possible without it. And when the appointed time arrives, you will see that not a single day of waiting was wasted. My beloved child, there are losses in life that leave deep marks on the heart. Some losses are visible. Others remain hidden beneath the surface where few people ever see them. You have lost opportunities. You have lost time. You have lost relationships. You have lost confidence in certain seasons. There may even be parts of yourself that seem difficult to recognize because of what you have endured. I know every loss. I know every disappointment. I know every dream that appeared to slip through your fingers. I know every prayer that seemed unanswered. And today, I want you to hear something that your pain may have made difficult to believe. I am a God of restoration, not merely replacement. Restoration. There is a difference. Replacement gives you something new. Restoration brings healing to what was damaged and creates beauty from what seemed broken. My beloved child, many people believe that once something is lost, the story is over. They assume that a missed opportunity can never be recovered. They assume that wasted years can never hold value. They assume that broken places can never become beautiful again. But those assumptions underestimate my power. I am not limited by what hath been lost. I am not restricted by what went wrong. I am not defeated by the mistakes of the past. What appears impossible to human understanding remains entirely possible for me. Think about a forest after a wildfire. To those standing nearby, the landscape may seem ruined. Trees are blackened. The ground looks barren. Everything appears lifeless. Yet beneath the surface, life often remains. Seeds survive. Roots endure. New growth begins. What looked like an ending becomes the beginning of restoration. My child, there are places in your life where new growth is already beginning, even if you cannot fully see it yet. The disappointment did not destroy your future. The setback did not cancel your purpose. The loss did not erase my plans for you. I know there are moments when you look back and think about what could have been. You wonder how life might be different if certain events had unfolded another way. You replay old memories. You revisit old decisions. You imagine alternate paths. But while you are looking backward, I am working ahead. While you are grieving what was lost, I am preparing what is next. While you are focused on closed chapters, I am writing new ones. My beloved child, restoration does not always happen the way you expect. Sometimes I restore by healing your heart rather than changing the past. Sometimes I restore by opening new doors rather than reopening old ones. Sometimes I restore by giving deeper wisdom, stronger faith, and greater purpose than what was lost. And sometimes I restore in ways so unexpected that you later realize the new blessing carries more beauty than the thing you thought you wanted. Consider a skilled artist creating a mosaic. Broken pieces are scattered across a table. Individually, the fragments seem useless. Their original form is gone. Their previous purpose has ended. Yet in the hands of the artist, those broken pieces become part of a masterpiece. The artist does not ignore the brokenness. The artist transforms it. That is what I do. I take broken experiences and create wisdom. I take painful seasons and create strength. I take disappointment and create compassion. I take loss and create deeper purpose. Nothing placed in my hands is beyond redemption. My child, there are things you thought would permanently diminish you. There were seasons when you believed you would never fully recover. Yet even now, you are stronger than you realize. You have survived things that once seemed impossible. You have endured storms that should have overwhelmed you. You have kept moving forward even when your heart felt weary. That resilience is evidence of my work within you. And I am not finished yet. There are areas of your life where restoration is still unfolding. Relationships can heal. Joy can return. Peace can be renewed. Confidence can be rebuilt. Dreams can be revived. Purpose can become clear. Hope can grow again. Do not let temporary loss convince you of permanent defeat. Do not allow past pain to define future possibilities. Do not assume that because something ended, nothing beautiful can begin. The story is not over. The chapter you are living right now is not the conclusion. My beloved child, I see every tear you shed over what was lost. I understand every moment of grief. I know every question that remains unanswered. But I also see what is coming. I see healing where you currently see hurt. I see growth where you currently see emptiness. I see abundance where you currently see lack. I see restoration where you currently see loss. Trust me with the broken pieces. Trust me with the unfinished story. Trust me with the places that still ache. Because I am not simply restoring what you lost. I am restoring your strength. I am restoring your hope. I am restoring your vision. I am restoring your confidence in my goodness. And when you look back one day, you will discover that my restoration reached far deeper than you ever imagined. What seemed lost forever was never beyond my reach. And neither are you, my beloved child. My beloved child, there are some prisons that do not have walls. There are chains that cannot be seen with human eyes. There are burdens that bind people for years, even while they appear free on the outside. These chains are often forged from fear, shame, bitterness, regret, insecurity, and lies that have been believed for far too long. Many people spend their lives trapped by things they cannot see, trapped by the belief that they are not enough, trapped by memories they cannot seem to escape, trapped by habits they wish they could break, trapped by wounds they thought would heal by now, trapped by fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of the unknown. My beloved child, I know the chains you have carried. I know the thoughts that keep trying to pull you backward. I know the struggles you have fought in silence. I know the areas where you have felt stuck despite your best efforts to move forward. But today I want you to hear my voice clearly. The chains are breaking, not because of your strength alone, not because of perfect circumstances, not because you suddenly have all the answers. The chains are breaking because my power is greater than anything that has tried to hold you captive. For too long, some of those chains have convinced you that they were permanent. They whispered that change was impossible. They told you that this was simply who you are. They persuaded you that freedom belonged to other people but not to you. But those voices have been lying. A bird that has spent years inside a cage may eventually stop trying to fly. Even if the door is opened, it may hesitate because captivity has become familiar. A cage dotted to think small. Many people live this way spiritually and emotionally. They become so accustomed to limitation that they stop expecting freedom. They become so familiar with struggle that they stop believing change is possible. They become so used to surviving that they forget how to truly live. My child, I did not create you merely to survive. I created you to live with purpose. I created you to walk in freedom. I created you to experience peace. I created you to know my love without constantly being weighed down by chains from the past. There are lies that need to be broken. The lie that says you will never heal. The lie that says your mistakes define you. The lie that says your future must look like your past. The lie that says you are abandoned. The lie that says you are unworthy. These lies may have repeated themselves many times, but repetition does not make them true. Truth remains truth even when it has been ignored. And the truth is this: you are my beloved child. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not disqualified. You are not beyond restoration. You are not trapped forever. My beloved child, freedom often begins before circumstances change. It begins when your heart starts believing what I say more than what fear says. It begins when you stop agreeing with the chains and start agreeing with the truth. Think about a prisoner who receives news that a pardon has been granted. The prison door may still be standing in front of him, but everything changes the moment he learns he is no longer condemned. His future changes before his surroundings do. In the same way, freedom begins when you accept what I have already spoken over your life. You do not have to earn my love. You do not have to prove your worth. You do not have to remain trapped by old labels. The chains lose power when you stop believing they define you. I know some chains break suddenly. Others break gradually. Some habits require persistence. Some wounds require healing over time. Some fears loosen their grip one step at a time. Do not become discouraged if the process feels slower than you expected. A chain does not have to disappear instantly to begin losing its hold. Every step toward truth weakens the lie. Every act of forgiveness weakens bitterness. Every moment of trust weakens fear. Every decision to move forward weakens the grip of the past. You are making progress even when it feels small. You are growing even when the change seems gradual. You are healing even when the process feels incomplete. And I am working through every part of it. My beloved child, I want you to stop looking at yourself through the lens of your limitations. Stop introducing yourself to the future by your old wounds. Stop assuming that yesterday's chains have authority over tomorrow's possibilities. You belong to me. And because you belong to me, freedom is not a distant dream. It is part of your inheritance. The fears that once controlled you do not have to control you forever. The regrets that once haunted you do not have to define you forever. The insecurities that once limited you do not have to accompany you forever. The chains are breaking. The prison doors are opening. The old lies are losing their power. And as you continue walking with me, you will discover that the freedom you longed for was never as far away as it seemed. Because I have been leading you toward it all along, my beloved child. And this journey is only beginning. My beloved child, there is something I need you to remember today because the world has tried very hard to make you forget it. Your life is not an accident. Your existence is not random. You are not here merely to pass through the years and survive from one day to the next. Long before you understood who you were, I knew you. Long before you took your first breath, I saw your journey. Long before you questioned your purpose, I had already placed purpose within you. You were chosen for more. Not more importance than others. Not more value than others. But more than the limitations you have accepted. More than the fears that have tried to define you. More than the small expectations that have been placed upon your life. My child, one of the enemy's favorite strategies is to convince people that they are ordinary when I have called them to something greater. He whispers that their life does not matter. He tells them they have nothing unique to offer. He encourages them to compare themselves with everyone around them until they begin to believe they have no special purpose. But comparison has stolen enough from you already. When you compare your journey to someone else's, you often overlook the gifts I placed within you. You focus on what they have and forget what you carry. You admire their strengths while ignoring your own. Yet I did not create you to be someone else. I created you to be you. Think of a garden filled with different flowers. The rose does not become more valuable by trying to be a sunflower. The sunflower does not become more beautiful by trying to be a lily. Each flower flourishes by becoming what it was designed to be. In the same way, your purpose is not found in imitation. It is found in becoming the person I created you to be. My beloved child, there are gifts within you that have not fully emerged yet. There are strengths within you that you have not completely recognized. There are abilities, insights, and opportunities attached to your life that remain largely undiscovered. The reason you sometimes struggle to see them is because purpose rarely arrives with a loud announcement. Purpose often unfolds gradually. It reveals itself one step at a time. It grows through obedience. It develops through experience. It becomes clearer as you continue walking with me. Many people expect purpose to feel dramatic. They assume that one day everything will suddenly make sense. Sometimes that happens. But more often, purpose is discovered through faithful daily steps. A builder does not complete a house in a single day. A musician does not master an instrument overnight. A tree does not reach maturity in a single season. Growth takes time. Purpose unfolds through process. I know there have been moments when you felt insignificant. There were days when you questioned whether your efforts mattered. There were seasons when you looked at your life and wondered if you were making any real difference. But my child, significance is not measured by applause. It is not measured by recognition. It is not measured by popularity. Some of the most meaningful things you will ever do may happen quietly. A kind word can change someone's day. A prayer can influence circumstances you cannot see. An act of obedience can create a ripple effect that extends far beyond your awareness. Never underestimate what I can do through a willing heart. There is a story of a young shepherd who spent years caring for sheep in obscurity. Most people would have considered his daily responsibilities unremarkable. Yet during those hidden years, he was developing courage, patience, and character. What looked insignificant became preparation for a greater assignment. Many of my children are living in similar seasons right now. You may feel hidden. You may feel overlooked. You may feel as though your progress is slow. But hidden does not mean forgotten. Preparation does not mean polygamy. And waiting does not mean your purpose has disappeared. I am still working. I am still shaping. I am still preparing. My beloved child, stop speaking about yourself as though you have nothing to offer. Stop defining yourself by your weaknesses while ignoring the strengths I have given you. Stop measuring your potential according to the opinions of people who cannot see what I see. I see beyond your fears. I see beyond your doubts. I see beyond your current circumstances. I see the person you are becoming. And that person is stronger than you realize, wiser than you realize, more capable than you realize. There are assignments attached to your life that no one else can fulfill exactly the way you can. There are people you can encourage. There are lives you can influence. There are opportunities prepared specifically for you. Do not dismiss your calling because it seems small today. Seeds appear small before they become forests. Streams appear small before they become rivers. Beginnings appear small before they become testimonies. My beloved child, you were not created merely to exist. You were created with purpose. You were created with intention. You were created for impact. And as you continue walking with me, the things you once questioned about yourself will begin to make sense. Because you were chosen for more than survival. You were chosen for growth. You were chosen for purpose. You were chosen to carry light into places that need hope. And the story I am writing through your life is far from finished. My beloved child, there are moments in life when the distance between where you are and where you want to be feels overwhelming. The dream appears too large. The obstacle appears too strong. The path ahead seems too uncertain. When you look at everything that must happen, you may feel tempted to do nothing at all. But I want to teach you something that many people overlook. Great journeys are not completed all at once. They are completed one step at a time. Great victories are not won in a single moment. They are won through many small acts of faith. Great transformations rarely happen overnight. They happen through consistent decisions made day after day. My beloved child, never underestimate the power of one step taken in faith. Many people remain stuck because they are waiting for complete certainty before they move forward. They want every question answered. They want every risk removed. They want every outcome guaranteed. But faith does not work that way. If you could see every detail of the journey, faith would not be necessary. If you already knew every outcome, trust would not be required. Faith is not the absence of questions. Faith is choosing to move forward despite them. Think about a traveler standing before a long mountain path. If the traveler focuses only on the entire journey, the distance may feel impossible. The mountain appears intimidating. The climb seems exhausting. But when the traveler focuses on the next step, something changes. One step becomes manageable, then another, then another. And eventually, what once seemed impossible begins to unfold. My child, many of the things you are praying for will not arrive through a single dramatic moment. They will arrive through a series of faithful steps. Healing often begins with one decision to trust me again. Freedom often begins with one choice to release the past. Growth often begins with one act of obedience. Breakthrough often begins with one step taken despite fear. Do not despise small beginnings. The world celebrates dramatic results, but I often work through simple acts of faith. A tiny seed eventually becomes a great tree. A small stream eventually becomes a mighty river. A single spark can light a great fire. Small beginnings carry tremendous potential. I know there are times when you feel frustrated because progress seems slow. You compare your journey to others. You wish things were moving faster. You wonder why the answers have not fully arrived. But my beloved child, every step matters. Every prayer matters. Every act of obedience matters. Every moment of trust matters. Nothing done in faith is wasted. There is a story of a stonecutter working on a large rock. Day after day, he strikes the stone with his hammer. After dozens of strikes, nothing appears to change. The rock remains intact. To an observer, the effort might seem pointless. Then suddenly, one final strike causes the rock to split. People often assume the last strike created the breakthrough. But the truth is that every strike mattered. Each one contributed. Each one weakened the resistance. Each one moved the process forward. My child, many people quit just before the breakthrough because they failed to recognize the value of small, faithful actions. Do not make that mistake. Do not assume that because you cannot see immediate results, nothing is happening. Do not believe that progress must always be dramatic. Sometimes the greatest changes occur quietly. A stronger mindset develops one thought at a time. A healthier relationship grows one conversation at a time. A restored life is rebuilt one choice at a time. A deeper faith is formed one act of trust at a time. You are making progress even when it feels slow. You are moving forward even when the journey seems long. You are growing even when the changes are difficult to measure. My beloved child, I am not asking you to carry the entire journey today. I am asking you to take the next step, the next conversation, the next prayer, the next act of obedience, the next decision to trust me. That is enough. Too many people become overwhelmed because they focus on everything that remains undone. They stare at the entire mountain instead of the next step. They become discouraged by distance instead of encouraged by progress. But I want you to shift your focus. Do not obsess over how far you still have to go. Recognize how far you have already come. Look at the strength you have gained. Look at the lessons you have learned. Look at the ways I have carried you through previous challenges. You are not standing where you once stood. You have grown. You have matured. You have survived. You have learned. And you are stronger than you realize. My beloved child, the future I have prepared for you is reached one faithful step at a time. You do not need extraordinary strength for the entire journey today. You only need enough faith for the next step. Take that step. Trust me with what follows. Then take another. And another. Because one step of faith, when placed in my hands, has the power to begin changing everything. The breakthrough you seek may not start with a giant leap. It may begin with one simple act of trust. And that step, my beloved child, could be the very step that changes your life forever. My beloved child, there have been moments in your life when loneliness felt heavier than any burden you carried. Moments when you looked around and wondered if anyone truly understood what you were going through. Moments when the journey seemed so personal, so complicated, and so exhausting that you felt isolated even in a crowded room. I know those moments. I know the silence you have experienced. I know the feeling of carrying struggles that are difficult to explain. I know what it feels like when support seems distant and answers seem delayed. And today, I want to remind you of something that your circumstances may have caused you to forget. You are not walking alone. Not for a single day. Not for a single hour. Not for a single moment. Even when you felt abandoned, I was there. Even when you could not sense my presence, I was there. Even when the road seemed dark and uncertain, I was there. My beloved child, one of the greatest illusions fear creates is the illusion of isolation. Fear wants you to believe that you must carry everything by yourself. It wants you to believe that no one understands. It wants you to believe that you are facing your battles without help. But fear is a poor narrator of truth. The truth is that I have been beside you through every chapter of your story. Think back to the most difficult seasons of your life. There were moments when you were certain you would not make it through. The pressure was intense. The uncertainty was overwhelming. The pain seemed unbearable. Yet somehow, you kept going. You found strength when you thought none remained. You discovered courage when fear was trying to overwhelm you. You survived days you once believed would break you. Why? Because I was carrying you even when you did not realize it. Imagine a parent walking beside a small child through a crowded city street. The child may not fully understand the dangers around them. The child may not notice every obstacle. But the parent's hand remains close, guiding, protecting, and leading. The child does not have to understand everything because the parent sees what the child cannot. My beloved child, that is how I watch over you. I see dangers you never encounter because I quietly redirected your path. I see troubles you avoided because my protection was already at work. I see moments when I strengthened you before you even recognized your need for strength. There are countless ways I have cared for you that you may never fully understand on this side of eternity. And I am still caring for you today. Till my presence comes through unexpected people. A kind word arrives at the right moment. An encouraging conversation lifts your spirit. A friend appears when you need support. A stranger's kindness reminds you that hope still exists. These moments are not random. They are reminders that my care often reaches you through human hands. Other times, my presence comes through quiet reassurance. A sense of peace enters your heart during a difficult situation. Strength appears when you thought you had reached your limit. Wisdom arrives just when you need direction. Those moments are reminders that I am near. My child, there are also helpers I have assigned that you cannot see. My care for you extends beyond what your eyes can perceive. I am constantly working behind the scenes, ranging, protecting, guiding, and providing. You may not always understand how. You may not always recognize when. But my attention has never left you. The challenge is that loneliness often speaks louder than reality. It focuses your attention on what appears absent while ignoring what is actually present. Loneliness says no one cares. I say I care deeply. Loneliness says you are forgotten. I say your name is known. Loneliness says you must handle this alone. I say, bring it to me. My beloved child, there is a difference between being alone and feeling alone. You may feel alone at times, but you are not alone. You may feel unseen, but you are seen. You may feel uncertain, but you are guided. You may feel weak, but you are supported. The journey ahead may still contain challenges. There may be valleys to cross and mountains to climb. There may be moments when answers seem delayed and questions remain unresolved. But I need you to remember this truth as you continue forward. You do not travel that road by yourself. When you celebrate victories, I am with you. When you face disappointments, I am with you. When you pray, I am listening. When you cry, I am near. When you feel strong, I am with you. When you feel weak, I am with you. My presence is not dependent upon your emotions. It is not dependent upon circumstances. It is not dependent upon whether you can feel it in a particular moment. I am with you because I love you. And my love does not leave when life becomes difficult. So lift your head, my beloved child. Take the next step with confidence. Face tomorrow with courage. Walk through uncertainty with peace. Because wherever the path leads, one thing remains certain. You are not walking alone. You never have been. And you never will be. My beloved child, there is something you must understand if you are going to walk confidently into the future I have prepared for you. Not every battle comes in the form of obvious opposition. Not every obstacle announces itself clearly. Sometimes the greatest threat to your progress is not destruction, it is distraction. The enemy knows he cannot change my love for you. He cannot erase the purpose I placed within you. He cannot undo the promises I have spoken over your life. But if he can distract you long enough, he can delay your focus. He can pull your attention away from what truly matters. He can keep you busy with things that drain your energy while producing very little fruit. That is why distraction is one of his favorite tools. My beloved child, look at how often your attention is pulled in different directions. One moment you are focusing on growth, and the next moment your thoughts are consumed by worry. One moment you are moving forward with faith, and the next moment you are comparing your life to someone else's. One moment you are trusting me, and the next moment fear is trying to convince you that nothing is changing. Distraction rarely appears dangerous at first. It often appears harmless. It comes disguised as unnecessary worry. It comes disguised as endless comparison. It comes disguised as bitterness from the past. It comes disguised as constant busyness. It comes disguised as voices that keep pulling your attention away from my voice. Imagine a traveler crossing a desert with a clear destination ahead. The journey is already challenging enough. But what happens if the traveler keeps changing direction every few miles? What happens if every distraction causes him to leave the path? The destination does not disappear, but reaching it becomes far more difficult. Many of my children are exhausted not because they lack purpose, but because they keep giving their attention to things that were never meant to guide them. My child, your attention is valuable. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. Where your energy goes, your growth follows. That is why you must guard your focus. The world constantly competes for your attention. There are endless opinions, endless worries, endless fears, and endless distractions demanding space in your mind. If you try to listen to every voice, you will eventually lose sight of mine. That is why I keep calling you back to stillness. Not because I want to remove you from life, but because I want you to hear clearly. There are decisions that become easier when your focus is clear. There are fears that lose power when your focus is clear. There are opportunities that become visible when your focus is clear. And there are blessings you might overlook if distraction keeps clouding your vision. My beloved child, one of the greatest distractions is comparison. Comparison convinces you to stare at someone else's journey while neglecting your own. It causes you to measure your progress against timelines that were never meant for you. It makes you question your value because someone else appears further ahead. But comparison is a thief. It steals joy. It steals gratitude. It steals confidence. It steals peace. And most importantly, it steals focus. Remember what I told you before. I did not create you to be someone else. I created you to fulfill the purpose I designed specifically for you. Another distraction is fear about the future. There is wisdom in planning. There is responsibility in preparation. But there is a difference between preparing for tomorrow and obsessing over tomorrow. When worry consumes your thoughts, it pulls your attention away from the grace available today. You cannot fully live in the present while constantly rehearsing future fears. My child, today contains enough strength for today's responsibilities. Tomorrow's strength will arrive tomorrow. Trust me with that. There is also the distraction of dwelling on the past. Some people spend years reliving old wounds, replaying old mistakes, and revisiting old disappointments. They become so focused on what happened behind them that they struggle to recognize what is happening ahead of them. But you cannot drive forward while staring only into the rearview mirror. At some point, you must look ahead. At some point, you must trust me with what has already happened. At some point, you must focus on where I am leading you. My beloved child, focus is not about perfection. It is about direction. You may stumble. You may become discouraged. You may occasionally lose sight of the path. But every time you return your attention to me, you regain clarity. Every time you choose faith over fear, you regain focus. Every time you choose trust over worry, you move forward. The enemy wants your attention divided because he knows focused faith is powerful. Focused faith keeps moving. Focused faith keeps believing. Focused faith keeps trusting. Focused faith recognizes my voice even when other voices grow loud. So today I am asking you to simplify your focus. Release unnecessary distractions. Release endless comparison. Release obsessive worry. Release the voices that keep pulling you away from peace. Turn your eyes toward me again. Because the path ahead is becoming clearer. The purpose ahead is becoming closer. And the future I am leading you into is too important to miss because of distractions. Stay focused, my beloved child. Keep your eyes on me, and watch how much clearer the journey becomes. My beloved child, there are times in life when your circumstances seem so close, so immediate, and so demanding that they begin to dominate your vision. The problem in front of you becomes all you can see. The challenge grows larger in your mind. The uncertainty occupies your thoughts. Before long, what is temporary begins to look permanent simply because it is constantly in front of you. That is why I am speaking these words to you today. Lift your eyes higher. Not because your challenges are imaginary. Not because your struggles are unimportant. Not because I am asking you to ignore reality. I am asking you to remember that reality is bigger than what you currently see. My beloved child, when you focus only on the obstacle appears enormous. When you focus only on the storm appears overwhelming. When you focus only on what is missing, lack becomes all you can think about. But perspective changes everything. Imagine a traveler walking through a dense forest. Surrounded by trees, the traveler may struggle to see where the path leads. The view feels limited. Every direction appears blocked. But if that same traveler could rise above the forest and look from a higher perspective, everything would change. The path would become visible. The destination would be easier to recognize. What once seemed confusing would suddenly make sense. My child, I see your life from that higher perspective. I see where the path leads. I see what lies beyond the current challenge. I see opportunities you have not yet discovered. I see blessings that are still approaching. I see outcomes that you cannot yet imagine. And because I see the bigger picture, I need you to trust me when your perspective feels limited. Many people become discouraged because they interpret their entire future through the lens of a single difficult season. They assume that today's struggle represents tomorrow's reality. They believe that current circumstances have the final word, but current circumstances are not the author of your story. I am. There was a time when you thought previous struggles would never end. There were seasons when you believed certain burdens would always remain. There were moments when fear convinced you that nothing would improve. Yet here you are. The seasons changed. The storms passed. The chapters turned. And the things that once felt permanent eventually became part of your testimony. Why should this season be any different? My beloved child, one reason discouragement becomes powerful is because it narrows your vision. It convinces you to focus only on what is wrong. It draws your attention to every problem while hiding every possibility. Discouragement says, look at what is missing. I say, look at what is still possible. Discouragement says, look at how difficult this is. I say, look at how far you have already come. Discouragement says, look at the mountain. I say, look at the one who created the mountain. Perspective matters. Think of a sailor navigating through rough waters. If the sailor stares only at the waves, fear quickly grows. Every swell appears threatening. Every movement feels dangerous. But experienced sailors know something important. They do not focus entirely on the waves. They keep their eyes on the horizon. The horizon provides direction. The horizon provides stability. The horizon reminds them where they are going. My beloved child, I want you to keep your eyes on the horizon. Keep your eyes on my promises. Keep your eyes on my faithfulness. Keep your eyes on the truth that I have carried you this far and I will continue carrying you forward. There are blessings ahead that you cannot currently see. There are prayers already in motion that you cannot currently measure. There are answers developing beyond your awareness. Do not allow temporary circumstances to convince you that nothing is happening. The farmer does not judge the harvest by looking only at today's soil. The builder does not evaluate the house by looking only at the foundation. The artist does not judge the masterpiece by examining a single unfinished section. In the same way, do not judge your entire future based on one unfinished chapter. You are still becoming. Your story is still unfolding. Your purpose is still developing. And I am still working. My beloved child, lift your eyes above fear. Lift your eyes above disappointment. Lift your eyes above comparison. Lift your eyes above temporary setbacks. Look beyond the immediate challenge and remember who walks beside you. Remember who guides your steps. Remember who knows the end from the beginning. Remember who has never abandoned you. There is a greater perspective available to you. There is a higher view than the one fear is offering. There is a future beyond the struggle currently demanding your attention. So today, I invite you to raise your gaze. Look higher. Trust deeper. Hope again. Because when you stop staring only at the problem and begin looking toward me, you will discover something powerful. The challenge may still exist, but it no longer controls your vision. The obstacle may still be present, but it no longer defines your future. And the road ahead becomes much clearer when your eyes are fixed on the one who has been guiding you all along. Lift your eyes higher, my beloved child. There is more ahead than you can currently see. My beloved child, one of the reasons people miss miracles is because they expect them to arrive in a form they can immediately recognize. They look for dramatic signs. They wait for sudden changes. They expect instant transformations. And while I am certainly able to work in powerful and unexpected ways, many of my greatest works begin quietly. So quietly, in fact, that people often overlook them. That is why I want you to consider something today. What if the miracle you have been praying for has already begun? What if the answer is already unfolding? What if the change is already in motion, even though you cannot fully see it yet? My beloved child, miracles do not always announce themselves with fanfare. Sometimes they begin as small shifts in direction. Sometimes they begin as a new thought, a new opportunity, a new conversation, or a new sense of peace. Sometimes they begin beneath the surface where no one else can see them. Think about the moment a seed is planted. The day it enters the soil, nothing appears different from the outside. The ground looks the same. The field appears unchanged. If someone judged the situation only by what was visible, they might conclude that nothing happened at all. Yet beneath the surface, everything has begun. Life is awakening. Roots are forming. Growth is starting. The process has already begun, even though the evidence remains hidden. My beloved child, many of my blessings arrive in the same way. Healing often begins before the pain fully disappears. Restoration often begins before circumstances visibly improve. Freedom often begins before every chain has completely fallen away. Provision often begins before the need is fully met. The miracle starts before the miracle is obvious. That is why faith is so important. Faith allows you to recognize that something can be happening even when you cannot yet measure it. I know there are areas of your life where you are still waiting for visible evidence. You have prayed. You have trusted. You have hope. And sometimes you wonder whether anything is changing at all. But let me ask you a question. Are you stronger than you were a year ago? Are you wiser than you were before the struggle? Are you more aware of my presence than you once were? Have you learned lessons that will help you in the future? If the answer is yes, then change has already begun. The miracle may not look exactly the way you expected, but growth is taking place. There is a story of a man who prayed every day for a great oak tree. He imagined a towering tree providing shade and strength. Yet each morning when he looked outside, all he could see was a tiny sapling. Day after day, he became frustrated. The tree did not match his expectations. It seemed too small, too insignificant, too slow. But what he failed to recognize was that the oak tree he prayed for was already there. It simply had not reached its full form yet. My beloved child, do not dismiss small beginnings. Do not overlook gradual progress. Do not ignore quiet victories. Some of the greatest miracles begin as tiny seeds. A healthy mindset begins with a single new thought. A restored relationship begins with a single honest conversation. A renewed future begins with a single step of obedience. A breakthrough begins with a single moment of trust. Small does not mean insignificant. Small often means the process has begun. The enemy wants you to become discouraged because the miracle does not look complete yet. He wants you to focus on what remains unfinished. He wants you to ignore every sign of progress and fixate only on what has not happened. But I want you to look again. Look carefully. There may already be evidence of my work surrounding you. Perhaps your heart is stronger than it used to be. Perhaps your fear no longer controls you the way it once did. Perhaps your faith has deepened. Perhaps your perspective has changed. Perhaps your peace has grown. Those things matter. Those things are signs that I am working. My beloved child, never measure my activity solely by what is visible. Some of my greatest work takes place beneath the surface. Long before a harvest appears, growth is already happening. Long before a door opens, preparation is already taking place. Long before the answer becomes obvious, I am already arranging what is needed. A miracle may not arrive exactly according to your timetable, but that does not mean it is absent. The answer may not yet be fully visible, but that does not mean it is not developing. The breakthrough may not be complete, but that does not mean it has not started. So do not lose heart. Do not abandon hope. Do not assume that silence means inactivity. Keep trusting. Keep believing. Keep moving forward, because the miracle you are waiting for may already be taking shape in ways you cannot yet see. And one day, when the results finally become visible, you will realize that I was working long before you recognized it. The miracle was already beginning, my beloved child. And even now, it continues to unfold. My beloved child, you have heard many things throughout this journey. You have faced challenges, carried burdens, fought battles, waded through delays, and walked through seasons that tested your strength. Along the way, there have been moments when your vision became clouded, your confidence weakened, and your heart grew tired. That is why I want to pause for a moment and remind you of a few truths that must remain firmly planted in your heart. Not because I have forgotten them, but because sometimes you do. Life has a way of making people forget what matters most. Difficult circumstances can distract you. Fear can distort your perspective. Disappointment can make you question things you once believed with certainty. So today, my beloved child, I want you to remember that you are loved. Not because of your accomplishments, not because of your perfection, not because of what you can offer. You are loved because you are mine. There has never been a day when my love for you depended upon your performance. There has never been a moment when you had to earn my affection. Long before you succeeded, I love you. Long before you understood who you were, I love you. And nothing has changed. Remember that you are not forgotten. There are times when delays make people feel overlooked. They begin to assume that because the answer has not arrived yet, they must have been forgotten. But my child, I know your name. I know your story. I know your prayers. I know your struggles. I know your hopes. Nothing about your life is hidden from me. The details you think no one notices are visible to me. The tears you shed in private are visible to me. The prayers whispered in weakness are heard by me. You are not forgotten. Remember that your current situation is not your final destination. So many people make the mistake of believing that today's circumstances will last forever. They assume that because something is difficult now, it will always be difficult. They assume that because the answer is delayed, it will never arrive. But seasons change. Storms pass. Paths unfold. And stories continue. The chapter you are living right now is not the entire book. Remember that growth is happening even when you cannot see it. The seed grows beneath the soil before it becomes visible above the ground. The roots strengthen before the fruit appears. The foundation is built before the house is completed. In the same way, many important things are developing within you right now. Your faith is growing. Your wisdom is increasing. Your character is being strengthened. Your understanding is deepening. The progress may be invisible, but it is real. Remember that you are stronger than you think. There were seasons you never imagined surviving, yet you survived them. There were obstacles you thought would defeat you, yet you are still standing. There were moments when you believed you had reached your limit, yet somehow, strength appeared. That strength did not come from nowhere. I was helping you. I was sustaining you. and I am still doing so today. Remember that fear does not tell the truth about your future. Fear likes to make predictions. Fear likes to imagine worst-case scenarios. Fear likes to convince you that everything will go wrong. But fear does not know what I know. Fear cannot see what I see. Fear cannot determine your destiny. Only I know the full story. Remember that your purpose still exists. Do not let temporary discouragement convince you that your life lacks meaning. Do not allow setbacks to make you question your value. Do not assume that delays have canceled your calling. You still have purpose. You still have assignments to fulfill. You still have people to encourage. You still have light to share. You still have growth ahead. And I am still leading you forward. My beloved child, there is one more thing I need you to remember above all else. I am with you. When the path feels clear, I am with you. When the path feels uncertain, I am with you. When you celebrate victories, I am with you. When you walk through valleys, I am with you. When your faith feels strong, I am with you. When your faith feels weak, I am with you. My presence is not based on your feelings. It is based on my faithfulness. And my faithfulness has never failed. So when doubts return, remember these truths. When fear grows loud, remember these truths. When circumstances seem confusing, remember these truths. Return to them again and again. Anchor yourself in them. Build your perspective upon them. Because the world will constantly try to tell you who you are. But I have already told you. You are my beloved child. You are known. You are loved. You are guided. You are protected. You are growing. And you are moving toward a future that is still being shaped by my hands. Never forget that, my beloved child. Never forget. My beloved child, there are many people who spend their lives looking backward while trying to move forward. They carry old labels into new seasons. They carry old wounds into new relationships. They carry old failures into new opportunities. Without realizing it, they allow yesterday to become the author of tomorrow. But I need you to hear me clearly today. Your past does not define your future. Your mistakes do not define your future. Your disappointments do not define your future. Your wounds do not define your future. The chapters behind you may explain part of your story, but they do not determine how the story ends. My beloved child, one of the greatest traps the enemy sets is convincing people that they are permanently identified by their worst moments. He wants you to believe that one failure reveals who you truly are. He wants you to believe that one painful chapter will control every chapter that follows. But that is not how I see you. When I look at you, I do not see only where you have been. I see where you are going. I do not see only what happened. I see what is possible. I do not see only your struggles. I see your potential. The problem is that many people spend years agreeing with labels that I never gave them. Some carry the label of failure. Some carry the label of rejection. Some carry the label of shame. Some carry the label of not being enough. And after hearing those labels long enough, they begin to believe them. But my child, a label only has power if you accept it as truth. Imagine a traveler carrying a suitcase filled with old clothes that no longer fit. The traveler keeps dragging the suitcase everywhere, even though its contents are no longer useful. Every step becomes heavier because of something that should have been left behind long ago. Many people do this emotionally and spiritually. They carry old identities. They carry old accusations. They carry old regrets. They carry old versions of themselves that no longer reflect who they are becoming. And the weight slows their progress. My beloved child, There are things from your past that taught you valuable lessons. There are experiences that help shape your wisdom. There are challenges that strengthen your character. Learn from them, but do not live in them. A lesson should guide your future. It should not imprison it. There is a reason the windshield in a vehicle is larger than the rearview mirror. Both are important, but one is meant to receive far more attention. The rearview mirror helps you remember where you have been. The windshield helps you see where you are going. Some of my children spend so much time staring into the rearview mirror that they struggle to see the road ahead. My child, it is time to look forward again. I know there are memories that still hurt. I know there are moments you wish you could change. I know there are decisions you would make differently if given another chance. But you cannot build tomorrow by endlessly reliving yesterday. You cannot embrace a new season while constantly introducing yourself by your old pain. You cannot fully receive restoration while holding tightly to old identities. Remember the promise I have been speaking throughout this journey. You are not your worst day. You are not your biggest mistake. You are not the opinions others formed about you. You are not the labels fear has attached to your name. You are my beloved child. That truth is greater than every accusation. That truth is stronger than every regret. That truth is more powerful than every failure. Think about a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. Imagine if the butterfly continued believing it was still confined to the limitations of its former life. Imagine if it refused to fly because it could only remember crawling. The transformation would be real, but the butterfly would continue living beneath its potential. Many people do the same thing. I have already brought growth into their lives. I have already begun transforming them. I have already started healing wounds and strengthening faith. Yet they continue seeing themselves through an outdated identity. My beloved child, stop introducing yourself to the future as the person you used to be. You are growing. You are changing. You are becoming. The person you were 5 years ago is not the person you are today. The person you are today is not the person you will be tomorrow. I am continually working within you, continually shaping you, continually strengthening you, continually preparing you. That process is not finished. So when the past tries to speak, listen carefully. If it offers wisdom, receive it. If it offers shame, reject it. If it offers growth, embrace it. If it offers condemnation, let it go. Because I did not call you to live backward. I called you to move forward. There are opportunities ahead that require hope. There are blessings ahead that require trust. There are doors ahead that require courage. And there is a future ahead that cannot be fully embraced while you remain chained to the past. Lift your eyes, my beloved child. The road behind you has taught you many things, but the road ahead still holds many things. Your past may be part of your story. What it is not the title of your story. I am still writing the title, and it will be written with grace, redemption, purpose, and hope. Because your future belongs in my hands, not in the mistakes of your past. My beloved child, there is a truth that many people overlook because it often appears too simple. They search for complicated answers. They look for dramatic breakthroughs. They wait for extraordinary signs. Yet some of the greatest blessings in life are discovered through something remarkably ordinary. They are discovered through obedience. Not perfect obedience, not flawless performance, but a willing heart that chooses to trust me step by step. My beloved child, obedience is not about proving your worth to me. You do not earn my love through obedience. You already have my love. You already have my affection. You already have my attention. Obedience is about alignment. It is about trusting that my wisdom sees farther than your understanding. It is about believing that the path I am guiding you toward leads somewhere good, even when you cannot see the entire journey. Think about a traveler using a map through unfamiliar territory. The traveler may not understand every turn. Some directions may seem unnecessary. Some routes may appear longer than expected. But if the map is accurate, following it leads safely to the destination. In the same way, my guidance often asks you to trust before you fully understand, and that trust is where obedience begins. I know there have been moments when my directions seemed difficult, moments when forgiveness felt harder than resentment, moments when patience felt harder than rushing ahead, moments when faith felt harder than fear, moments when surrender felt harder than control. Yet each time you chose trust, something important happened within you. Your faith grew stronger. Your character grew deeper. Your heart became more aligned with mine. And blessings began developing in ways you could not yet see. My beloved child, many people misunderstand obedience. They see it as restriction when it is actually protection. They see it as limitation when it is actually guidance. They see it as sacrifice without realizing the treasures hidden within it. A parent tells a child not to touch a hot stove. The instruction may feel restrictive to the child, but the purpose is protection. A lighthouse directs ships away from dangerous rocks. A warning may alter the ship's course, but the purpose is safety. In the same way, my guidance is rooted in love. Everything I ask of you flows from my desire to lead you toward life, peace, and purpose. There are blessings hidden in obedience that cannot be discovered any other way. Some blessings are opportunities that appear only after a step of faith. Some blessings are relationships that develop because of trust. Some blessings are lessons that emerge through perseverance. Some blessings are forms of peace that can only be experienced when control is surrendered. You often want me to reveal the entire blessing before you take the step. But many times, the blessing is revealed after the step. This is where faith and obedience walk together. Imagine a farmer holding seeds in his hand. If he refuses to plant them until he sees the harvest, he will wait forever. The harvest comes after the planting. The growth comes after the sowing. The fruit comes after the act of faith. My beloved child, there are moments in your life when I am asking you to trust me with a simple step. Not because the step itself is extraordinary, but because of what that step begins. One conversation can change a relationship. One act of forgiveness can begin healing. One decision to trust can open a new season. One moment of obedience can start a chain of events you never imagined. That is why I keep encouraging you not to underestimate small acts of faithfulness. The world celebrates dramatic achievements. I often work through daily faithfulness. The kind word, the honest decision, the patient response, the quiet prayer, the willingness to trust when certainty is unavailable. These things matter more than you realize. My beloved child, there have been times when obedience felt costly. You gave up something familiar. You walked away from something comfortable. You trusted me despite uncertainty. And perhaps you wondered whether it was worth it. I want you to know that no act of obedience rooted in love is ever wasted. Even when you cannot immediately see the results. Even when the reward feels delayed. Even when the outcome remains unclear. I am working through those moments. I am shaping your future through those decisions. I am preparing blessings through your faithfulness. Some of the things you are praying for today are connected to acts of obedience you have already made. Seeds planted long ago are still growing. Choices made in faith are still bearing fruit beneath the surface. So do not grow weary. Do not assume that your faithfulness goes unnoticed. Do not believe the lie that small acts of obedience accomplish nothing. I see every step. I see every sacrifice. I see every moment you choose trust over fear. And I am using all of it. My beloved child, the blessing hidden in obedience is not only what happens around you, it is also what happens within you. A stronger faith, a deeper peace, a clearer perspective, a closer walk with me. These are treasures that no circumstance can take away. So continue trusting. Continue listening. Continue following my voice. Because the path of obedience may not always be the easiest path, but it is the path where purpose grows, peace deepens, and blessings unfold in ways far greater than you can currently imagine. My beloved child, there is a moment that often arrives just before a breakthrough, and many people do not recognize it when it comes. It is the moment when weariness tries to convince them to quit. It is the moment when waiting feels longest. It is the moment when discouragement whispers that nothing is changing. It is the moment when giving up appears easier than continuing forward. That is why I am speaking to you now. Do not quit. Do not lose heart. Do not walk away from the journey because the finish line is not yet visible. The breakthrough is closer than you think. I know you have been waiting. I know you have been trusting. I know you have been carrying hopes that sometimes feel fragile. I know there have been days when your faith felt strong and other days when it felt difficult to hold on. But my beloved child, your waiting has not been meaningless. Every prayer had been heard. Every tear has been seen. Every act of faith has mattered. And even now, things are moving that you cannot yet see. Think about a miner digging deep into the earth searching for treasure. Day after day, the miner works without seeing immediate results. The rock remains hard. The progress appears slow. The reward feels distant. What the miner does not know is that just a few more strikes may separate him from the treasure he has been seeking. Many people stop too soon. They abandon the process just before the breakthrough. They walk away just before the answer appears. They surrender just before the season changes. My child, I do not want that to be your story. There have been many times throughout your life when you thought nothing was happening, yet important changes were already underway. Looking back now, you can see connections that were invisible at the time. You can see how one delay protected you. You can see how one disappointment redirected you. You can see how one difficult season prepared you. The same is true today. What feels slow is not stagnant. What feels delayed is not forgotten. What feels hidden is not absent. I am still working. One of the enemy's greatest tactics is convincing people to interpret temporary circumstances as permanent realities. He wants you to believe that because the answer has not arrived yet, it never will. He wants you to focus on what is missing rather than what is developing. But my beloved child, faith sees beyond the present moment. Faith remembers my faithfulness. Faith remembers past victories. Faith remembers that I have carried you through impossible situations before. There was a time when you worried about things that no longer trouble you. There was a time when you faced obstacles that now exist only as memories. There was a time when you wondered how you would survive a particular season. Yet here you are. You survived. You learned. You grew. You continue moving forward. Why would you assume that I brought you this far only to leave you now? I did not. And I will not. My beloved child, some breakthroughs arrive dramatically. Doors open unexpectedly. Answers appear suddenly. Circumstances shift quickly. But many breakthroughs begin quietly. A new level of peace enters your heart. A fear loses its grip. A new opportunity appears. A fresh perspective develops. A relationship begins healing. A burden starts lifting. The breakthrough often begins before you fully recognize it. That is why I need you to remain attentive. Do not become so focused on what has not happened that you miss what is already happening. Do not become so discouraged by the size of the mountain that you fail to notice the path appearing before you. Do not become so exhausted by the waiting that you overlook the signs of progress. Progress is happening. Growth is happening. Preparation is happening. The breakthrough is moving closer. Imagine standing outside just before sunrise. The darkness may still seem dominant. The sky may still appear unchanged. Yet the dawn is already approaching. The arrival of light does not depend on whether you can see it yet. It is coming. My beloved child, there are moments when the answer is nearer than it appears. The opportunity is nearer than it appears. The healing is nearer than it appears. The restoration is nearer than it appears. And because of that, I need you to keep going. Take another step. Offer another prayer. Choose faith again. Trust me again. Hope it in. Not because the journey hath been easy, but because I am faithful. The breakthrough you are waiting for is not dependent upon your ability to control every circumstance. It is dependent upon my ability to accomplish what I have promised. And my ability has never failed. So when discouragement comes, remind yourself of the truth. When doubt speaks, remember my faithfulness. When waiting feels long, remember that my timing remains perfect. You are closer than you realize. The season is shifting. The answer is developing. The path is opening. And the breakthrough that once seemed distant may be much nearer than you think. So do not stop now, my beloved child. You have come too far to surrender. Keep moving forward, because what you have been praying for is closer than you think. My beloved child, after everything we have spoken about, there is one truth I want to place deep within your heart. It is a truth that must remain standing when circumstances change. It is a truth that must remain firm when emotions rise and fall. It is a truth that must remain alive when questions seem unanswered and the road ahead appears uncertain. My love has never left you. Not once. Not for a moment. Not during your greatest victories. Not during your deepest struggles. Not when your faith felt strong. Not when your faith felt weak. My love has remained constant. I know there have been times when you questioned this. There were seasons when life became difficult and you wondered where I was. There were moments when pain made my presence seem distant. There were nights when silence felt louder than reassurance. But my child, my love is not measured by your circumstances. My love is not determined by how you feel on a particular day. My love is not weakened by your mistakes. My love is not interrupted by your failures. My love remains. Think about the sun hidden behind thick clouds. On a stormy day, someone looking at the sky might conclude that the sun has disappeared. The clouds seem overwhelming. The darkness appears convincing. Yet the sun has not moved. The clouds change. The weather changed. The visibility changed. But the sun remained exactly where it was. My beloved child, there have been storms in your life that temporarily obscured your view of me. There have been seasons when disappointment, grief, fear, and uncertainty formed clouds around your heart. But I never left. My position never changed. My care never changed. My commitment to you never changed. The challenge is that human hearts often confuse presence with feeling. People assume that if they cannot feel my presence, then my presence must be absent. But my child, I am present even when emotions are quiet. I am present even when answers are delayed. I am present even when circumstances are difficult. I am present even when you cannot perceive me clearly. My love is deeper than feelings. It is stronger than circumstances. It is more reliable than human understanding. There is a story of a child learning to swim. At first, the child stays close to the parent, constantly checking to make sure the parent is nearby. As confidence grows, the child occasionally looks away, distracted by the water, the excitement, and the activity around them. But every time the child looks back, the parent is still there. The parent's presence was never dependent on the child's awareness. The parent remained. My beloved child, I have remained. Through every season, through every victory, through every heartbreak, through every unanswered question, through every delay, through every fear, I remained. Even during moments when you felt distant from me, I was drawing near to you. Even during moments when you questioned your worth, I was reminding heaven of your value. Even during moments when you felt forgotten, I was watching over every detail of your life. You have never traveled beyond the reach of my love. There are people who believe their mistakes have separated them from my affection. They think they must somehow earn their way back into my favor. They imagine that I love them less because they stumbled. But my child, my love was never based on your perfection. If my love depended on your ability to never fail, no one could stand securely within it. My love is rooted in who I am, and I do not change. It does not mean I ignore your growth. It does not mean I stop guiding you. It does not mean I leave you unchanged. It means that even while I am shaping you, I continue loving you. Even while I am correcting you, I continue loving you. Even while I am preparing you, I continue loving you. Nothing about your journey has surprised me. Nothing about your weakness has shocked me. And nothing about your struggle has caused me to walk away. My beloved child, there may be days ahead when circumstances once again challenge your confidence. There may be moments when fear attempts to speak. There may be situations that test your faith. When those moments come, remember this. Remember that my love is not fragile. Remember that my love is not temporary. Remember that my love is not conditional. Return to this truth again and again. When you feel strong, remember it. When you feel weak, remember it. When life is joyful, remember it. When life is difficult, remember it. My love has never left you. It is with you now. It will be with you tomorrow. It will remain through every chapter still ahead. And when you finally look back over the entire story of your life, you will discover something beautiful. You will see that through every season, every struggle, every victory, and every waiting period, one thing remained unchanged. I love you. I guided you. I stayed with you. And I never left your side, my beloved child. My beloved child, you have come a long way through this journey. You have listened as I reminded you of my faithfulness. You have heard me speak about your fears, your struggles, your waiting seasons, your purpose, your healing, and your future. You have been reminded again and again that you are not forgotten, not abandoned, and not alone. Now we arrive at an important moment. A moment that is not about information. A moment that is about response. Because every message, every lesson, and every invitation eventually leads to a decision. What will you do with what you have heard? My beloved child, there are times when people hear truth but never allow it to take root. They listen for a moment, feel encouraged for a while, and then return to the same fears, the same doubts, and the same patterns that have held them back for years. I do not want that for you. I do not want these words to become another temporary encouragement that fades with time. I want them to become part of the foundation upon which you build your future. It begins with a response. Not a response driven by emotion alone. Not a response driven by pressure. A response rooted in trust. Throughout your life, there have been crossroads. Moments when you had to choose whether to move forward or remain where you were. Moments when you had to choose between fear and faith. Moments when you had to decide whether the pain of staying the same was greater than the uncertainty of change. Those moments shaped your story. And today is another one of those moments. I am not asking you to have every answer. I am not asking you to understand every detail. I am not asking you to predict the future. I am simply asking you to trust me. Trust me with the questions you still carry. Trust me with the burdens you have struggled to release. Trust me with the dreams that seem delayed. Trust me with the doors that have not opened yet. Trust me with the healing that is still unfolding. Trust me with the future you cannot fully see. My beloved child, trust is not passive. Trust takes action. When a traveler trusts the guide, the traveler follows. When a farmer trusts the season, the farmer plants. When a sailor trusts the wind, the sailor raises the sail. Trust moves. Trust responds. Trust steps forward even when certainty is incomplete. I know there are areas of your life where fear still tries to speak. There are parts of your heart that remain cautious because of past disappointments. There are places where hope feels vulnerable. That is understandable. You have been through battles. You have endured losses. You have carried burdens. But do not allow yesterday's pain to prevent tomorrow's possibilities. The future is not asking you to be fearless. It is asking you to be willing. Willing to trust again. Willing to hope again. Willing to believe again. Willing to take the next step. Think about a door standing before you. The opportunity exists. The path beyond it exists. The possibility beyond it exists. Yet the door remains unopened until someone chooses to move forward. Many people spend years standing before doors they are afraid to open. Not because the opportunity is absent, but because fear convinces them to remain where they are. My beloved child, I am inviting you to move forward. Move forward from fear. Move forward from regret. Move forward from old labels. Move forward from the belief that your best days are behind you. Move forward into the future I have been preparing. You do not need extraordinary strength for this moment. You need willingness. You need faith. You need trust. And even those things do not have to be perfect. A small amount of faith placed in my hands can accomplish more than you realize. As we approach the final part of this message, I want you to pause and consider what response you will make. Will you continue carrying burdens I have asked you to release? Or will you place them in my hands? Will you continue allowing fear to guide your decisions? Or will you trust my direction? Will you continue measuring yourself by past failures? Or will you embrace the identity I have given you? Will you continue focusing on limitations? Or will you begin expecting what I can do? This is your moment, my beloved child. Not because everything must change instantly, but because your heart can choose a new direction. And sometimes a changed direction becomes the beginning of a changed life. So take a deep breath. Open your heart. Choose trust. Choose faith. Choose hope. Because the story is not over. The journey is not finished. And what comes next may become one of the most beautiful chapters I have ever written in your life. Now, my beloved child, prepare your heart. For there is one final message I want to leave with you. My beloved child, as this message comes to its conclusion, I want you to remember why I called you here in the first place. The title of this message was not an accident. The urgency was not meant to create fear. It was meant to awaken your heart. It was meant to remind you that you are standing in a significant moment, a moment where you can choose faith over fear, hope over discouragement, and trust over uncertainty. From the very beginning, I have been speaking to you about things you needed to hear. I reminded you that I have been calling you. I reminded you that the seasons that nearly broke you were also shaping you. I reminded you that I have been working behind the scenes, even when you could not see it. I reminded you that doors are opening, chains are breaking, and purpose is still alive within you. I reminded you that your failures do not define you. I reminded you that your past does not control your future. I reminded you that you are not walking alone. I reminded you that my love has never left you. And now, at the end of this journey, I want all of those truths to come together into one simple reminder. Trust me. When the future feels uncertain, trust me. When the answers seem delayed, trust me. When fear tries to return, trust me. When old wounds attempt to speak again, trust me. When opportunities appear and require courage, trust me. When blessings arrive and you wonder if they are truly for you, trust me. My beloved child, there will be days ahead when you need to remember this message. There will be moments when circumstances attempt to pull your attention away from the truth. There will be times when you are tempted to believe that nothing is changing. When those moments come, remember what I have told you. Remember that I am working even when you cannot see it. Remember that growth is happening beneath the surface. Remember that your story is still unfolding. Remember that what seems delayed is not forgotten. Remember that I am faithful. You do not need to carry tomorrow today. You do not need to solve every problem before it appears. You do not need to understand everything before you take the next step. You only need to keep walking with me. One step, one day, one prayer, one act of trust at a time. And as you do, you will continue discovering what I have been telling you all along. I am with you. Before I leave you with my final blessing, hear this invitation as an extension of everything we have shared. This urgent message was never meant to stop with you. There are countless hearts still waiting in the darkness for the same hope, peace, and reassurance that reached you today. As my word declares, those who sow beside all waters will reap in due season, and today I am calling willing hearts to help carry this river of encouragement farther. If this message strengthened your faith, hear my invitation. Become a part of the harvest. Through super thanks, channel membership, or a PayPal donation through the link in the video description and the QR code displayed in this video, you can help this light reach souls who desperately need it. This is not merely a gift. It is a seed planted into lives you may never meet but that I see and love deeply. I tell you, every seed sown in faith becomes a stream that carries healing, restoration, and truth into thirsty places. This moment is an opportunity to answer my call and participate in something larger than yourself. I bless every giver with peace, provision, favor, and fresh strength for their journey. Let your generosity become a lamp that shines into another person's night. Do not ignore this holy opportunity. Step forward now, sow your seed, and help carry this message to the next soul who is waiting for hope. And now, my beloved child, I bless you. May peace guard your heart. May wisdom guide your steps. May courage rise within you when fear tries to speak. May healing continue in every wounded place. May hope grow stronger than doubt. May faith become greater than uncertainty. May you recognize my hand in every season. May you walk confidently into the future I have prepared for you. May you remember that you are loved beyond measure, known completely, and never alone. And when difficult days come, may you hear my voice reminding you once again, I am with you. I am guiding you. I am protecting you. I am working on your behalf. My promises still stand. My love remains. And my beloved child, no matter what tomorrow brings, never forget this final urgent reminder. Trust me. Amen.